are you doing? Sounds good like that.
This is the Levels Network. I'm Justin Horo, and I'm back with Triple OG, Willie Mason. OG.
What's going on?
I know you missed me last week, mate, but I reckon you missed me even more or the most in the intro.
Yeah, I was a bit rattled because Grubby coming in did a great job, the GRUBSTITUTE.
Shout out to the Grub. We'll get to that.
Yeah, but I was like, we're sitting here like this, and I'm like, when are we going to start or what? And then I was like, because you sit there and Grubby was sitting there, and I'm like, well, he obviously starts it. And he goes, Lukey goes, no, you're doing it. I went, oh, shit.
We're just sitting in silence for a little
We're
bit.
sitting in silence for about 30 seconds
Yeah.
going, we kicking off or what? And then, I got to say it. So it was good. But it's back to you. It's all yours, mate. I love it.
I want to give a massive shout out to the Grub. He was awesome last week. The comments have been really nice on behalf of Grub. I've got a couple here. Obviously, Jimmy Reid, who's part of our Tab Bunker. He's the guy from Port Macquarie that you talked about during the show
Good
as well,
man,
mate.
Good kid.
This is one of the best ones. Josh, the GRUBSTITUTE Reynolds. I love that for Grub coming in and filling in for me while I'm away. This one was from Nentra. I had no idea Josh Reynolds had this side to him. He bounces off Willie really well. It's also so refreshing and relatable. Last episode, the boys discussed their insecurities, and it's almost the same for us running a business or working at a corporate 9 to 5. It shows we hold these lads sometimes to unfair pedestals. They are humans doing their best, just like us. Keep at it.
Yeah, I think Grub did really well. I think he's been doing a lot of Triple M. He's been doing a lot of different forums. It's a lot different here, right? As he said, it's a little bit more unfiltered, and he can really express the way he is.
Yeah.
Right. When you're on Triple M, when you're
be
doing
more
all these
natural.
other things, you've got to be. There's a little bit of a narrative there. It's on a timeline.
You've just got to be as careful with what you say.
Yeah.
And when you have to think about it to pull up, which is fine,
Yeah.
it's just part of
You got to be able to do both. Like, It's just like me when I'm doing Channel 7.
Yeah.
I can't do Channel 7 like I do this. Jeez, I'll be kicked off straight away. But you got to be able to evolve, and you got to be able to pivot and be able to do that. So I think he's starting to learn. He can do podcasts quite well because he talks well. It's a conversation. This is not Q&A. It ain't a Q&A, especially when we're running the podcast like this. We've got Lukey over there. Lukey helped us out so much because he was reading the questions, and we were sitting here answering them. It was just bounced off really well. So it was good to have Grub there. And I think he would have got a lot of confidence out of just being here and sitting with us. And he can actually do it. Like it's just a confidence thing. He probably would have come in going, shit, am I running it? Am I doing what Hoz does? And I'm like, no. We'll all be pitching in. I said, Hoz does that because he loves doing that. Like he's structured like that. I said, do you ever see anything in front of me ever? Right. I'm just said, no. I said, I just bounce off. I sort of know what we're doing all the time, but I like to keep it organic, and I just don't. But even with Hoz, what you've got is not like the show. It's like nothing's like you're not going, oh, this is word for word.
Yeah,
this
this is
just
just
keeps you on guide. It's a guideline. That's all it is. You've done well.
Doing the potty with him, because I do the hoops and hits with him as well. We do the US, because he's part of the Tab family, right? So Grub will be back for sure.
Yeah.
And there might even be something that we can do with him with another sponsor. So that's in the works too, by the way. But the one thing I find fun with Grub, and since you've known him longer than me, mate. Yeah. I met him a few times over the years, but he reminds me of Fozzie in a way. He's got a very infectious personality. Yeah. He's like, there's a certain level of intensity about him, and like how passionate. Like there's this passion. He would have been great to play with. I would have loved to have played with him. He's one of those guys like spending some time with him. And we do a US sports show, but talking footy, we're on the same page. That's why I think obviously he worked really well with our audience as well.
Well, he did, because he loved just like, he could say whatever he wanted to, right? Without it being, he does the ESPN, he does Triple M, he does a couple other things where he has to be like, he's not really saying what he's thinking. Well, here, you can say what you think.
Yeah.
And I think he really loved that. So I think he can come, he's welcome any time, and I think he's just going to, hone his craft in, and he'll be getting better and better and better.
One thing I was thinking about this as well, while we're away, and the positive comments that have come when we've had people on, and we it's We're the Levels podcast, because I feel like, and we've had discussions before when we've had people come fill in, like we try to keep this to a high standard, and we've always tried to get people in where we don't want it to drop off. No. This comment's perfect. This is my comment of the week. Grub's a natural at this. Awesome potty. Feels like I'm sitting around with my mates talking footy. Scope will be looking over his shoulder, but iron sharpens iron. And I love that. Using a bit of us.
Good, mate.
Tying in a little bit of our verbiage into a comment and relating it to Grub. That is the comment of this weekend, for this week. And by the way, I will be announcing the winner of the comment from our first episode until round 1 on Thursday. So I'm going to do them in blocks for the comment of the year, which will lead to a spot in our golf day at the end of the year. So I'll announce if you've been the comment of the episode leading up to this point now, you'll know if you're in the running for the golf day. Next one will be round 1 to Magic Round. Then we'll do like an origin period best comment. And then we'll find out going into before final start.
But the people that we will pivot one day into more guests eventually. But like when we do have, just say if you're away or if I'm away, like the person who fills in has to be on point.
Yeah.
We don't want to lose that consistency and how the show was built. You need to come with it. A lot of energy, a lot of knowledge. Watch all the games. Don't fucking think you can come here and sit in that seat without watching a fucking game. Because of our fan base, watch every minute of every game and you'll get called out.
For sure. So shout out to Grub. We're in the works, like I said. There could be a little segment for Grub or something going forward because, he did so well with us. I just want to go through the growth for 2025. Now, we haven't done this, but the subscribers and the listens. So since we started our first episode this year, we have grown 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I want to keep kicking that up as we go. On Instagram, we've grown 1,000 as well. And remember to like and subscribe on Apple and Spotify. I purposely haven't done this, for the first month and a half just to see, if I'm drumming it down, if it's too much. But if you're new to the show and you're just sort of tuning in, that helps the growth. Therefore, we can continue to get better and better. Get ourselves maybe a little studio as well.
It gets me like with the subscribing because I watch a lot of YouTube and it's like, oh, please subscribe. And back in the day, I went, fuck off, I'm not subscribing. And then I'm like, oh, I'll subscribe because I know how much it means. And they're like, because we get so many listeners, but that needs to go into the subscribing, right?
Yeah.
Which helps everything. And I get it now. So I'm subscribed to about 1,000 people. They don't know what the fuck's going on.
It's good. Mate, it just brings it up in your feed all the time as well.
Yeah.
I want to give a massive shout out to everyone at Jim Beam and Panthers Penrith League. So we turned up there yesterday for the first ever Live Legends with the great man Josh Mansell, source from Let's Trot. And I want to thank everyone who turned up. It was a great little event, wasn't it?
Yeah, I want to thank you to turning up. You're straight from Bali with Barley Belly, and the source sick as a dog all week, and till that morning he was not 50-50, like 70-30. So tough carry for both of you, and we did well. It was a really good thing. It was great. Jim Beam were great with us, and good crowd. And I think that's what we attract because it's not a comedy act, is it? You go in there, you're going to learn some stuff. You're going to get a little bit of a like behind closed doors, and what happens in the rugby league world and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of knowledge between three of us.
It was good engagement, wasn't it? Like the Q&A really period that went. That was only supposed to go for about 5 or 10 minutes. That actually went for about 25.
They're the best ones. A lot of those guys come there to ask some questions that they're wanting to ask for years, but they never had the opportunity. So when we went down the run sheet, I'm like, the Q&A will be the best one. That'll hit the most because a lot of them have some great questions. So, and if they're fans of the show, obviously most are, look at the questions that we get.
Yeah.
With a heavy heart, I'm going to give you a guy a bit of a shout out. He reached out on Instagram and he said, it's a bit of a long shot, but one of his mates' dads, Harley Johnson. Didn't give you that much context, but he goes, he just got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. The reason why I'm saying giving him, some a bit of a shout out and get well and all those sort of stuff, like because my old man passed away of pancreatic cancer. It's very aggressive, and it's shocking to see someone that you love, everything you just
go through that.
Just go through that, the chemo and everything like that. But it is a lot more, you can survive it now if you get onto it early. Before it was a death sentence. So, My best of wishes for you, Harley. You got the fight of your life coming up, mate, and you got a beautiful family. Your kids, Brody and Sam, your wife Trudy, they're all going to support you. All your friends. So it is tough, mate. You've got to fight your ass off, but you got a beautiful family who's fighting for you. But there's going to be hope at the end of the tunnel. But I just wanted to send you my best wishes. I know you're a massive big Bulldogs fan, especially of the era that I was there, and the whole Bulldogs are wishing you a speedy recovery, mate. And we know that you got a big fight, and I know you'll do good. So hopefully the next message I get is that you're in remission. So keep fighting, mate.
Yeah, well said, mate. Well said. All right, let's get to our first segment of the show, Mace. We have Red Bull on board this year, and I want to give everyone a bit of rundown how we're going to do it this year. If you've been watching the show, you know Mace. Mace loves giving credit to OGs, guys that have been there before, guys that set the tone, been around for a minute. You know, you're sort of reluctant when I go willy-nilly and start putting people in the Hall of Fame early, mate. You go, hold up, let's see it play out. So, for Red Bull, and you always talk about the old bull, the tone setters, the Jared Warrior-Hargraves, the James Fisher-Harris. Moses Leota did that for Penrith Panthers over the weekend. Yeah. So your old bull for Vegas round this week, and by the way, it can be in any sport. So I know people don't like us talking about basketball, but if LeBron puts up a 40-point triple-double at 40 plus, when Luke is supposed to be
the LeBron haters will come.
But yeah, we can go to any sport.
Yep.
But I think it feels right to do the first segment and cover everything in Vegas. So your Mace's old bull this week is,
mate. I'm not sure how. And the thing is, what an old bull is 25 and over. You reckon?
25 and over. Mine's got to be 24 and under.
Ooh, okay,
or I'll give myself more wiggle room. As well, where I've got to be 50 games or under. Or, a certain percentage of appearances under as well. But
this guy that I've got, who's been, he's the captain of his country now. He's the captain out there at Penrith. Isaiah Yeo played outstanding. You know, he played exactly, like missing Fisher Harris. I mean, Lindsay Smith played outstanding.
He played good, didn't he?
But he scored that try. He had Fanua Blake slipping out. Boom, right foot step. Got him good. 15 hit-ups, 147 metres. Post-contact, 51. 43 tackles. And very important tackles. When he saved, a couple of those were match savers.
Yep.
Just the hustle that he has, 80 minutes that he played. Round one, in the middle.
Round one, no trials. None of the Panthers players.
Absolutely nothing. Closely followed by the dog of all dogs, Liam Martin. Jeez, it was hard. It was hard. I said last night, it's between both of those guys because Liam Martin was an absolute animal. His kick chase, that right side. It's just brilliant watching those two guys. The energy that they bring, mate, it's so powerful. But Yowie, I loved it because he had that shape all the time. Dummy go. He took the meters. It was like he was playing Origin. He flicked it back to that. He goes, all right, don't worry about the ball playing because, obviously you got to start building those combinations with J. Cole and Cleary at the back and the leads, you know what I mean, with Lindsay Smith. Usually he does it with Fish. But, his game was perfect. He was outstanding. I know Cleary iced it. Liam Martin was very, very damaging, but Yowie in the middle.
Do you think because Fish moving on that he had to take more of an intent to make sure he just gets his bumpers up and get forward?
First couple of hit-ups, didn't pass the ball. He would just dummy and go because he's 6'4" and 108 or 9 kilos. He's a big boy, mate. He can run and he finds his front all the time. His tackles, he never misses any tackles. He does a lot of clean-up work, mate. He was outstanding. Yeah. Cleary was just that golden touch at the end. That's beautiful to have a half layout.
We talked about it yesterday at our Jim Beam Live Legends shout out, and I talked about, I feel like now we're going into an era similar to Melbourne where they had really good players around them for years.
That's what they're doing.
The big three in Cooper Cronk, Billy Slater, and Cameron Smith. Now they had GI at times. They had a young Israel Folau. They had Adam Blair, who was a really good contributor.
8 years, man.
How GI isn't considered part of the big four when he's there. That's how good these three were for a long period of time.
Well, GI had to stay a couple more years. He just got forced out because of the cap.
Yeah, and he was the guy that moved on. I feel like this is their big three, isn't it? Like Isaiah Yeo, Dylan Edwards, and Nathan Cleary, and now we're going to get to see it more than ever.
Liam Martin's got to be part. Like, I mean, that's the big four.
Yeah,
and then you look Toto, and I don't know. It's just such a they've got the best players in key positions. And Mitch Kenny, like he's an unsung hero. He just goes out there and makes 50 tackles easy, breaks ribs, everything like that. But like that team, I want to apologise to all Penrith fans because I said that Cronulla were going to win, but I thought their back five was going to be a bit underdone with no Brian Toto. And Cronulla's only one made over 100 metres, and I was back in their back five.
When
they got absolutely fucking schooled.
When Jesse Ramian went over for the first try, you were in the WhatsApp group pretty happy with how it was started because
game over.
It did look good, didn't it?
They look sharp. But I was looking at the intent with Penrith and their line speed and just how they were just so good in defense. I'm like, they haven't changed a bit. Minimum prelim again. I don't think and Cronulla's a good side.
Yeah,
they didn't execute, but they look pretty good. They look pretty good.
They look really good.
They look really good, and that just shows how good Penrith are. I was just like, wow, they're doing it again. Casey McLean went off.
Yeah,
you put Dane Laurie on there.
Yeah,
he just does it. They do a job. They do everything. Dylan Edwards looks like he's gone up another level.
He looked a bit frazzled.
Lindsay Smith.
Yeah. Early on, he looked a bit frazzled, and then he got into his rhythm.
Yeah, but Lindsay Smith,
he was good, mate.
Outstanding. Isaiah Papali'i, unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? Like they got the balance again, and Alamotti, I know he's not an out-and-out winger, but fucking did the job. Had that fan shape out there, beautiful hands. Tonga, mad. We'll break that game down, but just. Who's going to beat him?
Yeah.
Who's going to beat him again?
It's a warning shot. You know, a lot of people thought they'd be vulnerable.
It's a fuck you.
Played a lot of footy.
We are those guys.
Played a lot of footy. None of the first graders trialled, which I think is unbelievable in this day and age.
You don't have to.
They don't have to, do they?
No, don't waste them. It's too much of a risk. Like imagine if one of those key players blow an ACL. It can happen. You'd rather it be in round one.
Yeah.
Or, hopefully not. But, you don't want Yowie and Liam Martin or any of those big guns getting injured because you want them to get match fit.
Yeah.
These boys are ready. They're grown-ass men.
All right, my young buck for this week, Scope's young buck is Xavier Savage for the Canberra Raiders. 17 carries for 210 metres, 2 tries. His first... I just want to talk about his defence because there were a couple opportunities where RTS got him. He missed RTS missed a little try too, which he probably could have got to, and then he ended up scoring one in the second half. But I want to talk about his first 2 defensive efforts before he takes that pick to the house. So he's got the ability, because he's so, I guess, powerful and fast, where he did a really good job of double D'ing. And what I mean by that is being able to let Roger get it on his outside. I don't know if you remember it in the first half, Mace, where he let Roger or allowed Roger to get on the outside. So you show him the sideline and then you use that as an extra defender because he can make it up.
That's what good wingers do.
And then not only does he make the tackle, he runs Roger down and then he was able to play at the ball and then he gets the ball back and then they end up getting a penalty a couple of plays later. Then he takes the pick to the house.
That's great.
And he got a bit greedy after that because, he scored 2 tries. He ends up in no man's land on the Adam Pompey to Kurt Capewell. And then there was right at the end, obviously, Roger scores a nice try off the back of some beautiful shape where body on the line, gets involved, good contact, but, Rog, the OG, does a good job of getting the ball down. But I reckon there's an origin spot up for grabs.
I think so too.
In the Queensland back line. And I've said this about Xavier Savage, and I was raving about him last year. Not a lot of people watch the Raiders week in, week out because they're out of sight, out of mind. Ricky's building something special down there, I think. And the job he's done with Xavier Savage in particular, he had a rough 2023, broke his jaw at the start of the year. Missed a lot of footy. Come through as a fullback. He's put his ego aside. Embraced the winger role last year. Played really good last year. People just associate Xavier Savage with speed and flair and intercepts and scoring tries. He carries the ball strong. He's aggressive in defence when he gets the opportunity. And he's a game breaker and can take a pick to the house.
Yeah, that one where he did get skinned right? He needs to be able to fall back in that and use the sideline as a defender like he does in other positions. But when you're right on the line like that, you cannot be caught in no man's land. And he knew that. He goes, because he was probably a little bit confident. I might take this. And ball players, look, they go, he's going to come up. So you just got to play it, and good ball players will skin you, right? And he did that. And but he's just going to get better and better and better. That back five for Canberra, strong. Sebastian Chris, strong.
I think they all ran for 100 metres.
Grubby said when we broke the games down, it's like, they got a back five that just are relentless. They'll get you out of your trouble easy. They run hard. They test your middles. They can pass the ball. You know, like they're not scared. They're not scared to like chance their arm coming out of yardage.
What about when Xavier Savage just floats across the field, finds that little tip on, then backs it up, sort of floats around the back of Timokor, which put Charles Nickel-Klogstad just gasping for air.
So the worst case scenario
just takes off and runs 30-40 metres.
You're hitting inside shoulders. Quick play the ball. That's all you need. And then Starling goes.
Yep.
Yeah, that young kid coming off the bench, we'll break those games.
Yeah, we'll get to Owen Paddy in a bit.
I don't mind him. He's a genuine 9, that guy.
Remember when I told you about that Sevilio Tamale? And he led the New South Wales Cup in tackle breaks?
What is that? He's an animal.
So
we'll break it down. But that break that he made, just straight through, and then obviously unfortunate, like they hit the ball and he lost it, but like far out. That's your fucking winger.
Yeah.
That's a winger. Good finisher, tough.
Did you see the clip that I put when I put it on Instagram I got some New South Wales Cup footage of him? He's just coming in for the wing, carving everyone up.
Well, who did he play for last year?
On the clip that we talked about? Yeah.
And no one, like St. George, never thought to keep him? Obviously, I think he would have got a bit of coin there.
Well, this is the strategy I think I talked about before I went away. Ricky's identifying, they're doing a good job of identifying talent, younger talent that haven't proven themselves yet.
Sitting behind
on the big stage. That we're looking for an opportunity and potentially paying them overs to go down to Canberra. Now, overs for a guy like Sevilio Tamale might have been at one point like 250,000 for to stay at the Dragons. Ricky comes in and goes, "I'll give you." I don't know. Like I'm just throwing something out there.
I reckon less than 200 to stay with the Dragons, and he would have got 300 plus to go to.
I had Dragons fans messaging me off the back of that clip going, I have no idea why we let him go. Hot tamale.
Little hot tamale. Look at a hot little tamale.
Love that. We'll get to them in a bit, but shout out to Xavier Savage. Like I said, there's an origin spot up for grabs if he can just work on those defensive lapses.
And yeah, well, he will work on that because from fullback to wing, it's hard. When you get those 3-on-2s and even man on man, you've got to trust your inside. That's communication, right? The intercept's not always on. That's the worst option.
I reckon
the one that he picked to the house was perfect.
Yeah, good positioning for that.
Good position because he left that ball player. The ball player should have held it, obviously, but like he left him. If you want to pass, I'm going to intercept it. Yeah. We'd have to go over the top, and then the other defense comes across and just slams you outside. So, that's something he was going to learn.
All right, let's get to the YouTube for replies from last week, and this is around, I guess, the Newcastle Knights. You're talking about the Dylan Brown contract, which we've got more information too about that. Lukey dropped it on the Thursday, but then it developed over the weekend. I think in the next 24 hours, it developed even more about an actual proper offer and Newcastle, I guess, getting more aggressive with the communication around Dylan Brown. This one comes from Mark Kenny, and this is about Ponga to begin with. The Chooks will get Ponga. Teddy at the best. Teddy was the best number one, Australian captain, etc., etc. They don't play around with key positions like the spine. They get the best. They will get Ponga and a gun 5'8" to go with Sam Walker. The next one's from Sin for Life. When Moses was gone, Brown did nothing. When Cleary was out, Luai stepped up. One is worth 1.2 and the other isn't. I wouldn't be playing Brown anything over 900K. And then he doubles up again. I agree the Knights need a 7, so I don't know why they want Brown. Knights have enough halves that cannot play 7 and they don't need another.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I wouldn't be saying Moses is out and Brown was shit. Parramatta was shit. You know what I mean? Like he did his best there. He was trying to get that other kid involved in the game, and he's used to just being hanging on that left side and Moses just doing everything, and that's the game plan. You know what I mean? You can't blame him for that. He was trying his ass off. He ended up finishing the year pretty good, and then he blew his ACL, which sucked. But talent-wise, I mean, that's why when we named our best sixes, he's fucking top 3.
Yeah, he's still top 3.
He is, and he's 25, 26 years old. The prime is right ahead of him. He just needs to go, the next contract that he has, he needs to be thinking, stability, good club where he can go to take that club to the next level of like a premiership, right? I'm not sure if Newcastle is that club.
Well, so here's the thing with Newcastle, right? People have been balking at the money. 1.3 is a lot of money, and if he does indeed make the move,
Not in today's game.
he'd be walking away from quite a substantial cut from Parramatta. But if you look at it purely from a Newcastle standpoint, I think they're looking at it going, a couple of contracts that they've been trying to get out of now for a while, which have been well documented. Jackson Hastings has been reported to be on around 800,000.
Fucking what?
That's reported. Don't know if that's 100%.
Even if it's like, that's 400 too much.
Brayley Jaden Brayley's the hooker.
He's on
over there.
850 or something. He's on a fair bit.
He was the club captain.
Yeah.
I would say he would be on
a fair bit.
around at least north of 600.
More.
So if you think about getting a guy like Dylan Brown, like these are contracts that Newcastle have currently that they've been trying to get out of for a while, and like I said, it's been well documented. They expire in 2025. So if you've got a combination, think about this as a Newcastle Knights fan, and no disrespect to these players, Jackson Hastings and Brayley, but that's just the way that rugby league works. You know, you get Dylan Brown for 1.3, and that's a lot of money, and you're probably paying him overs because you're trying to, in terms of value for what he would probably get at Parramatta, you want to pay him a little bit more to get that contract. Would you rather have Dylan Brown and a combination of Dylan Brown and a young guy like Matt Arthur?
No, I want. You just need one dominant half. You just need like a Cogger or someone like that. You can take pressure off Cogger.
No.
Whatever the 7 is, right? Like
I think he's going to play 7, mate. That's my point.
Fucking way. No, I would not waste money on him being a 7.
I think that's what they're going to do.
No,
I
think Fletcher Sharp can find another position. You know, like I just think Dylan Brown's an out and out 6. I don't think he can play 7. He needs to be a bit wider of the ruck. If he's 7, he's not that sort of player where he's, you know, like he's just a little bit too big. Like I don't know. I want him a little bit wider from the ruck.
He can do it.
I think he can do it.
You just said before about like how Parra
he can easily do it. I'm just saying. I don't think I'm going to buy him as a 7.
But you can't envision the Newcastle Knights buying him as the 7 to try to figure out what he's going to be there, because Kalen can play on ball like a 7 as well, and he can.
Yeah, I know.
And they can rotate between each other and have him Fletcher Sharp.
I don't think he fits in the Newcastle system, to be honest.
You've said that for a while.
Yeah,
now.
I just don't think he fits. I think he fits in the Roosters system with Sam Walker.
Okay.
I think he can get there because he's a genuine 7, Sam. He creates a lot of stuff. And Dylan Brown can just be sitting around and just strike 5'8". Big body, goes to the line, dummy, backs up really well. Good ball player, good defender. He just needs to dominate that left side of the field where Sam Walker can just do what he wants. He fits that system. I don't think he fits Newcastle.
You know what's going to be an interesting way to view this and look at it moving forward, and we talk about it all the time. Melbourne Storm have 3 fullbacks playing in the halves. They were all, come through playing fullback, but they had to change positions, and we always talk about it. It's Bellamy's system. Melbourne, they had to coach them up. We got a taste of it for the Titans, because the Titans are going to be doing that with 3 fullbacks playing 5'8", so they're more ball-running players playing in a half, and then you're almost forcing a guy like Jerome Hughes to play a different role than he's accustomed to play that 7. Yeah. Jaden Campbell's going to be doing that for the Titans, and that's what I reckon the Knights are looking at.
They're looking at that. I think, obviously, they are looking at it. I just don't think it fits up there. You know what I mean? I don't think it'll work. To be honest, I just think he wants to play 5'8". I don't think he wants to play halfback. He wants to run. Yeah. He's a runner, mate. And you'd be wasting time for him to be organised and everything like that as a 7 does. I just want him to be a strike 6. There's not many I want him to play like Munster. Like he's got that skill set. I don't want him to be fucking going each side of the road. Here you have a cross here, dummy cross, being that ball player. He doesn't threaten anything. Defenses are too good on the edge. Yeah. Like for him to be sliding through all the time. How many halfbacks you see make clean breaks? Play like Dearden. Play like those 5'8s, a little bit wider from the ruck so he can skin those 4-men, 3-man, all those sort of blokes, So it doesn't work out in Newcastle. I don't think so.
All right, we'll see anyway. That's going to develop.
Unless they go, you're 6, so they get rid of Hastings, they get rid of Brayley. Here's some money, but we're still going to work with just say Cogger or someone like that. But then they're going, well, what do we do with Fletcher Sharp? Well, why don't you just work with Fletcher Sharp?
So if they do end up paying, this is the deal that apparently has been thrown out now. Because Parramatta, this is the first time I think Parramatta are fearing that he could be done for the season. Can you leave that on, mate?
Yeah, I am. It's true.
They're fearing, there's chat around Parra, sort of a bit worried that they're going to lose him. It's been reported, and this was maybe just after that, the deal now is for 10 years, 13 million, which is a 300,000 annual spike on his current deal with the Eels.
10-year deal they're trying to sign him with?
10-year deal. $13 million offer. So if they do sign him and look, they envision him playing 7 and it doesn't work, they've still got Jack Cogger there. So then they could pivot if it doesn't work.
Sorry, is this the offer from Newcastle?
Yes.
10-year deal.
He's short. It's going to be so hard for him to turn it down.
Dumb.
It's going to be really hard for him to turn it down.
Doesn't work.
Do you think that includes options in his favour? Like he had
no way.
No, mate. Would you sign a 10-year deal? If you're Newcastle and he's a 26-year-old, he's had a few injuries here and there, he'd be 36, 37 when he comes off. Fuck.
No, he'd be 30. He's only 23, isn't
he? He's not 23. Dylan Brown.
Have a look. I think he debuted.
25 at least.
He's been around for a minute.
24. 21st of June 2000.
He'll be 34 when it finishes.
Fuck, he's young. Yeah. I mean, it can be done because of obviously with the Ben Hunts and Reynolds, but I don't know, 10-year deal.
Are you more reluctant as a club? I guess the prime example where it's worked really well has been Daly Cher Evans. Same management too, by the way, the All Brothers. Worked really well for Manly for a long time. We're going to get to his contract in a bit. But then there's guys like Tino. Tino got big long-term deals. Obviously, Jason Tamalolo. Yeah. If I am going to spend...
probably get 5 or 6 of their peak years.
Do you know what I reckon this is also about? I reckon this, and we started up the top, I reckon this is about retaining. This is a huge part about retaining and keeping Kalen happy as well. I think Kalen's looking at, I think the Newcastle Knights are looking at trying to keep Kalen as happy as possible. And I feel like it's not really specific, position specific.
It's just having him in the side.
It's just about having another star there that can take some of the expectations and weight and pressure off him.
It's going to be hard for him to brush that. I didn't know they offered a 10-year deal. That's generational money for him. Depends how what he prioritizes, money or happiness or whatever it is. He got a family, is he single, all that sort of stuff, all those little things. But it'd be hard to ignore. Depends what Parra come back with. It depends what the Roosters come with.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting. Just say what would you do if the Roosters offer him a 10-year deal? What would you be thinking? You got to be thinking you got to think in 10 years ahead. How do the Roosters look? The Roosters always, they go back a little bit and then they go fucking bang.
It's hard to envision what a roster's going to look like top to bottom right now. But if you look about...
In 5 years, you can't. You'd be like, fuck.
Because there's so much
change. Aging? Frizzell's going to be gone. Saifidi and all those blokes should be pretty... They've reached their peak. They've probably got 3 or 4 years left in it, maybe.
Yeah, so you don't even worry about that. You look at the youngest star. And for Dylan Walker, and you mentioned it before, Dylan Brown, is it more appealing for him to play with a young Sam Walker and build a relationship for the next 5+ years?
That's what I think.
Or play on ball and have a guy like Callum Ponga out the back, who's still 25, 26 or something too, isn't he, Callum? Even though
the Roosters get Dylan Brown and then get Ponga and
get Kalen as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. There's something's going on there.
Kalen's 26.
26.
But God, that's a lot of thinking time for old Dylan Brown.
No wonder he's taking his time with it.
Mate, and so he should. Just get to round 1 and just dominate, play the best football that you can do, and then and make your decision when you're ready. There's no rush.
All right, we'll see how that unfolds. That's definitely going to develop over the next couple of weeks. And I think ideally for Parra...
10 years, is it? Get more.
I think ideally for Parramatta, whether he stays or goes, they want to get this done as early as possible and just get this noise out of the way.
That ain't happening. That is not happening.
All right, you talked about Tonga and Samoa overseas in one of the comments last week. Teon Tiare, Auckland's got the biggest Polynesian population by percentage outside of the Pacific Islands. Makes sense to do it here, or if they want to bring it into America, the audience would be, or the place would be Utah. But as a poly in Auckland, I'd be a bit nervous having a Samoa versus Tonga game here, laugh out loud. Tensions would definitely be high, especially around parade time.
Have we not had a game over there, Tonga Samoa?
Yes, for sure. There has to have
Yeah, so I mean, like that's like we've already ticked that box.
I think
So I just think like if I would fucking rather it in New Zealand, but if we're thinking about like sort of growing the game in the US and expanding it and just trying to give them a little bit of awareness and how tough our game is and how brilliant it is and those two countries, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Because we've seen it.
I think if you look at, like in recent times, for sure, there's been a history between Samoa and Tonga for a while that dates back
Fucking crazy.
and a rivalry, in the past it's got a bit hectic, but like I think there's a unity around the Pacific at the moment too that sort of outweighs it now.
Yes, of
like if
course.
you look at what's happening over
It's
there
brotherhood, man.
in the rugby union with the Moana Pacifica and the first ever Pacifica team, I think there's more unity within the islands than there's ever been.
There's way more. It's not the 80s, man.
Yeah.
It's not the 80s.
And it'd be fine.
They've played the last World Cup, 2023. Oh, sorry, the Pacific Championships. They played at Eden Park, and they played in 2017 in Waikato in Hamilton.
Yeah, like we've seen
Waikato.
like we've seen it before. So it works and it's awesome to see. Like
In Auckland, it's huge.
yeah, it's massive.
Yeah.
Like but like that's up to the international game. Do we want to go over there? Do we want to expose it? Like I think we should, but you know, we're never going to get a piece of that market. But it's just a great event, really. You know, you're not going to go to Utah and try and start a team there.
I reckon if they put together a series, well, you know, like the hardest thing is trying to find it in the schedule. That's the problem.
Yeah. It is. I bet people wouldn't be arguing after the year and just say there's a Pacifica whatever here. I mean, you can't really. Just say the Ashes, you know, the Pommies come over here or we go over there and then you can have a proper Pacifica thing and they can do their like little 3-week wherever they want.
What about the bring back the Tri Nations, New Zealand, Australia? Because New Zealand and England are the teams that are,
4 nations. They need to bring 4 nations back.
you bring the 4 nations. Who would be the fourth then?
I think like just give England a bit of a rest. I think Australia, New Zealand, Tonga, Samoa, 4 nations.
No, but like because I want to build the rivalry because I think there's a genuine. There's something there with Tonga versus Samoa that can be bigger.
Oh, you want it by standalone?
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean.
Series.
Like just say with the Ashes coming over here, or we go over there, the Aussies, and then that little thing.
Yeah, no. So Tri
Nations,
Nations,
then New Zealand. I don't know. Like you can work it
because of Origin, Mace. So you run a Tri Nations because New Zealand and England, they're the 2 teams that can't be involved in Origin, whereas Tonga and Samoa can. So you do it. Every other year you do a Tri Nations between England. So you get the international footy for Australia with New Zealand and England, and you build this rivalry. You build this Tonga versus Samoa.
Yeah.
And you potentially
do
have a
we have
3-game
it here?
series.
I want that. Yeah, but do we? That's what I'm more saying. Do we have it here? It obviously works here, right? Yeah. But do we do we want to give it over to the Yanks?
Why don't we go a little bit of both because they move Origin around, right? They have the home and away. So you have one in Auckland, you have one here in probably Combank makes the most sense. Strong Polynesian influence out in Western Sydney. And then you could potentially take the first game over to the States and do it over there.
I think it'd be good to get 3.
Go to Hawaii. Imagine playing in Hawaii.
Just get 3. Like do a whole like series over there. Just 3 games within 3 weeks.
At the back end of the year?
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Mongrel Boots. It's Aussie born and bred too, by the way. No matter if it's work or play, Mongrel has a boot for you, and they're designed to be comfy as.
Very comfy. You know my brother Rod Mason.
Yes,
Rod,
the great man.
Bricky is a bricklayer, and obviously you've got to have comfy boots. And he listens to the podcast, and all his mates listen to the podcast, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, "Do you get Mongrel boots for free?" I said, "Yeah, they sponsor us." He goes, "Where are you going to wear it?" You know what I mean? And I've chucked them on a couple of times when I've been doing the lawn or something like that. So all those boys out there, all the brickies, love them.
They love them,
because they can wear.
High quality.
Because you know why? You can swap the old tradie gear and put a pair of jeans on and go straight to the pub. That's what it is, and you still don't. You don't look out of place. So, mate, comfy as, and it's a stylish boot. You can get away with it.
It's so good, and I'm sure there are plenty of tradies that listen to us. So, if you want to head to mongrelboots.com.au to find out where your favourite boot is and where your local retailer is, Aussie, born and bred.
Yeah.
Love that. Mongrel Boots on board again for 2025. Let's get to the YouTube questions. And this one comes this one comes from Shay Tutaskist. Hey lads, big fan of the podcast. Wouldn't say I'm an L1 from day one, but have been watching since the start of the 2024 season and have recently gone back and watched all previous episodes as the content is unreal. Shout out for going back and rewatching them. First time commentator. Is that the right? I don't know. That's commentator. He gets first time commentator. But
it would have auto-corrected.
Doesn't
okay. Anyway,
we get it, mate.
I want to get your guys' thoughts on how much it costs to watch the footy in New Zealand. I'm not the richest man in the world, and with the cost of living going up, Sky Sports are about to up their price to $55 a month, which I think is a bit high to pay that much to watch your favourite sport on TV. I personally think that's why a lot of Kiwis don't tune into the footy, as it's too expensive. Just curious in why it's that high. Keep up the work, lads. New Red Bull flavours are the bomb. I will start just quickly on this. Because we're over here, by the way, Shay, we don't have Sky. We're over here with KO, so it's different. Fox, it's a different format. But look, it's a reflection on the inflation across the board, which is it's becoming the cost of living at the moment is at an all-time high.
Yes.
Whether it's rent in New Zealand or even in Australia, whether it's
getting hammered, aren't we?
People subscriptions that you got on your phone. I've got about 5 or 6 different subscriptions over here in Australia that it really adds up at the end of the week. But for Kiwis, he's right in the sense where. We went over there a couple of years ago, Mason, trying to watch the footy over there with the games. And, man, you've got to be a diehard to love the game over there, considering, the cash you're paying. No, you've got to have Sky by the sounds of it. Let us know, by the way, in New Zealand, is there any free to air?
Free to air?
Ready?
No.
I'm having a look at it here.
Okay.
So apparently, this could be wrong. The Sky Starter package is $25.99 New Zealand dollars. Adds variety of channels, kids shows, music, etc. The add-ons are sport for an extra $31.99 per month.
Oh, wow.
Add a movie package for $20 on top of that, blah, blah, blah. So it's $57.98 apparently
wow.
for Sky Sports. This is according to just ChatGPT summarised.
Is this KO? Do they have KO or is it KO just Australian?
Yeah, Sky.
Yeah, KO's just Aussie.
Well, they need some more stream though there, don't they?
Sky
that sucks.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's just across the board.
Yeah.
But we got more avenues to watch sport here. We've got like KO, we've got Fox, we've got obviously free to air, Channel 9, you get a few games on there.
Do you watch do you have an NRL account? Did you say, Lukey, do you pay for your NRL account to watch games? No. Can you watch games on the NRL
little
account?
highlights.
And then KO.
No, highlights.
Okay, all right. Yep.
The Zone will come in and try. That'll be another streaming sort of avenue. Surely that would be in New Zealand as well.
I think
is
that an Australian brand?
It's Foxtel's an Australian group. Sky's different.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's a rip-off. I feel sorry for him.
Well, it shows how passionate New Zealand fans are that tune in and watch footy. That's
probably why they go to the game.
Remember when
they all go to the games? Where else are you going to watch it?
That's a good point. That's really.
Well, there's a reason why we don't go. There's a reason why we don't fucking turn up here in massive crowds because you just Super Saturday. You sit at home. You go to Allianz Stadium with your family, right? It'll cost you $200-300 to get in there with all the food and all the bullshit and traveling and all that stuff. No, you're going to sit at home, just watch your footy by yourself. Don't get annoyed or anything. You can watch every single game, every minute, like through Fox. You can't do that there. That's why probably they go to the games to watch. If you're a diehard Warriors supporter, that's what you'd be doing.
But also, and getting to the point as well, whereas they've got to pay a subscription on Sky to be able to get the footy. We've got that. We've got a version of that with KO. Not everyone can afford that, but we got free to air.
We've got free to air. You got Channel 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says here, Sky Open also airs Warriors games on delay with select matches broadcast live.
But going back to again,
get your shit together, New Zealand.
Going back to the original point,
like with that,
with like when we were over there as well, watching the games later at night, like you've got to be
11 o'clock.
You've got to be a diehard, don't you?
Oh mate, you're not getting to bed till fucking 12.
Yeah.
Let's just say the 8 o'clock game here.
10 o'clock
what is it? 10 o'clock there. It's fucking 12 o'clock bedtime. That's
And then you got to get up for work, and let's say you're on site, you got to be at site 4:30.
Yeah, have a couple of beers or something like that. You start carrying
Thursday
on.
night games. You pretty much can't do the Thursday night games if you work if you're a trader, you're getting up at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning over there because it's way too late.
You're not. And that's probably why the views are down. And that's why, like the Warriors are going really good. I wonder what it's like for the Union. They'd have to do it on Sky Sports as well, or is there...
No,
That have a different-
union got better time differences to
Yeah,
allow.
I know, it's because it's
rugby
mostly
union's
over
so-
there.
Yeah, they kick
Popular.
off earlier because
Yeah.
if you watch
Yeah,
it
but
here,
this-
you can watch like.
But they
Yeah,
watch
5:30.
But
Yeah.
there's a lot of New Zealand teams over here. You're playing on this time clock, whatever.
Say that again. Sorry.
There's a lot of New Zealand teams over like playing New South Wales in Australia. You know, like they're over here for about a month touring. So yeah, that's all over the shop. They need to get that together. So hopefully DAZN, when they come in, can buy that and stream it. They just need a streaming
Is that how it's
platform.
pronounced? DAZN?
DAZN,
I thought
yeah.
it was DAZN.
Yeah, I thought it was dancing.
DAZN? In the
I thought it was
zone?
Tony Danson. Anyway,
This
but that
comes-
sucks. It
yeah.
sucks. It does. It sucks
Yeah.
because there's a lot of rugby league supporters over there, union supporters. They love their sports, man. So
I know we've
you
got
think someone would be fucking trying to get over there and start a new streaming sort of service?
Yeah.
KO, come on,
It's not a bad business.
let's get into
Not a
that.
bad business proposal.
Go back
Levels
to
Levels
Tony
Network
DAZN.
streaming.
Yeah.
Tony
is it?
doesn't. That's definitely just the Australian market.
Okay. There you go. So
fucked,
that's not
man.
going to help them.
No.
By the way, I know because we see the analytics, we see the data for this show. We've got a huge fan base over in
Yeah.
New Zealand. So there is diehard fans over in New Zealand that watch the
They're
game.
not
So
$25.99 a month.
Yeah, we just don't charge you
we don't charge anything.
nothing.
You just subscribe, like and subscribe, and then we
That's
do
all
all
you
the
gotta
work. We
do.
get the sponsorship.
We'll just tell you what
and we don't have to
Just
charge you
watch,
anything.
and then we'll just break the games down for you, mate.
That's
Sweet.
and I guess that's why they get so angry when we don't spend a lot of time on the Warriors.
I get it now. I get it now. I understand. It's like every Warriors game's going to be fucking three hours now.
We're just a Warriors podcast.
Yeah,
now.
Warriors.
Yeah. I love it when Warriors fans get on there. Like, so
Yeah,
we
I
get
didn't
ripped
really-
by some
I
Warriors
didn't really
fans.
understand.
Give us more time on the Warriors, and then a couple of Warriors fans just go chill. Like, we didn't get the win. Like, we don't have to be talking about us in detail. But I guess that's
When they start winning.
they love the game over there, and there's probably limited opportunities.
Yep.
And the time's not great, and it's expensive. So shout out to everyone in New Zealand who's a
I
diehard
forgot
that follows the game.
All that. There's a lot going on there.
A lot goes into it,
That
doesn't it?
sucks.
Maybe we have to go back this year.
I think we
Yeah,
should.
I think we should
I'd
go
love
back.
that trip last time.
I,
best.
I want to do something with Red Bull over there.
We just need New Zealand Warriors to start fucking playing good and dish that shit up like they did yesterday. Fuck.
All right, let's get this to Just How, Rodney's younger brother, Just. Hey, boys, I just wanted to get your thoughts and opinions on this. All of the teams that played in Vegas will get a home game in round 2, which is obviously a break.
Yeah.
They have the break. We've got the round 1 sort of finalising this weekend, except for the Sharks who have to travel up to North Queensland.
Oh, what? Oh,
Do you
fuck.
think this is unfair for the Sharks?
Yes.
If so, going forward, should every team playing in Vegas get a guaranteed home game in round 2?
I thought it was a guaranteed buy. And then,
Sorry,
like,
it is, mate.
they're going
It
to
is.
buy.
It is.
But then, like, you got to stay home.
Yeah.
Not, and if you're going to travel, give it to Newcastle or something. Fucking North Queensland. God, look after him.
It's,
Fitzy will be fuming.
It's not easy. For one thing people don't realise, the data and the analytics that go into making a schedule is there's so much shit that goes into it.
but they
But
could've
sending them to
worked
North
that
Queensland, I'm sure there is, when they type in that there's some sort of, there would be something that they type into the computer that comes up with
Yep.
the schedule. Surely when they put the numbers in, put the teams in, it comes up round 2,
Cronulla,
North Queensland.
No, scrap it.
Let's try
Let's
to go
look
to
after 'em,
Let's
you know,
go
like,
go to another format. But in saying that, Sharkies have always got a nice rub of the green in terms of scheduling, in terms of.
I mean, I
teams
don't
that
think. I mean, they get a buy, right?
Yeah.
And then North Queensland's not too bad. But I was just thinking, Lukey, how many sore heads would be fucking in Vegas right now? Because this time last year, Lukey Stowe was in a fucking glass case of emotion.
I was just wondering.
You were just fucking. You didn't know where you were. I was like, where the fuck are you? I wonder if the players were allowed out last night.
Ooh, that's a good
They
question.
were.
Yeah, because last year the fucking everyone was out.
That's why they booked that T-Pain after party.
T-Pain.
And they had.
Shit.
There was also a Paul Fisher after party. As
Yeah,
well.
Fish was
Oh,
there.
was Fish
I
playing
got
there?
a heap of FaceTime calls that I did not answer. But they were over there. Fish was there, so would have been a great vibe. Would have been awesome. I was surprised with the fucking crowd. Same as last year.
Oh, was
I
it?
thought 45.
45, yeah, something like that,
I
yeah.
thought, and even if it was 45, just fucking dummy it up and say it was 55. So they didn't really open it up. The top bit was.
I wonder how that
empty.
works. You can't fabricate numbers, can you?
someone-
is
someone will call you out.
there something illegally where like if you did that you'd get in trouble for sure?
For sure, because it'd be
I
just
reckon-
like about selling ads in the stadium. It's
As
the
if
same
they
thing.
don't do it when
It has to be
As if
GST.
they don't do it for fucking in the NRL.
I've been to
When Manly and fucking Roosters played and they said there was 20,000. was 5,000 there.
There was a game that I watched at a call that I was calling last year, and the numbers come up on the screen. I went, I mean, not a call. No, what's the one? Homebush.
Allianz.
Yeah, a call.
Yeah, it is a call.
a call.
Yeah, it is a call.
It is, oh, yeah.
And I was like,
There's
that ain't
not
the
20
number.
here. There's not 25 here. There's fucking 10.
This one, great segue anyway. Let's stay on Vegas. This one comes from Sissy late at night. I caught this. Hey, lads, long-time listener, first-time commenter. What do you think about the Vegas weekend that just went on? In my opinion, 4 games was a little too much this year. More isn't always better. I feel like they should have kept it to 2 games, especially for our new American spectators trying to learn our game.
Yes.
4 games in one day just seems like so much to take in, especially to our new fans to the game. Also, I don't mean to slander the women's game, but the game would have been 102-4 if all conversions were kicked. Is the NRL ready to have the women's game on the Vegas stage, or should they focus more on growing it domestically in Australia and New Zealand first? Love to hear your thoughts.
Great question. See, from the first game to the last game, did you see the crowd? Did you see the crowd at the last game? It was probably like 15,000 left. So they're all packed. Yeah, they're all packed for the Canberra
Warrington?
and the Warriors and those first couple, because you just get over it. Remember last year, we were like, let's get out of here. But that was only 2 games, right? But by that last game last night...
You get like that after 2 minutes at any
2
event
minutes.
anyway.
Let's go. And when you're in Vegas, it's not like you're in fucking Homebush, are you? You're not in Homebush going, can we get out of here? You want to walk down the strip and go nuts. They've all been full of piss all day. So I reckon by the time the best game of the whole round was the Penrith game, and no one was there. By the end of the game, have a look at it. It was empty seats everywhere. So
I'm going to go watch it back. I
that's
didn't
the first thing I noticed. I said, oh, there's a lot gone, because they've just gone, fuck this. Let's just go back to the MGM or whatever it is. It's a Saturday night in Vegas, right? You just want to
Long
watch probably
day.
2, yeah.
4 games is a long day.
3 games is max, I reckon.
think so.
I think 3. I'm not sure who that. I don't think you flick the Pommies, the women's game.
Do you think you could spread it over 2 days there?
No.
Because the NRL had the rights to the round for 2 nights. Because they're all there. They put the pitch in.
Nah,
You just
keep it
want
to a
one.
day.
You just want one. It's Vegas, mate. You just got that one event. I just don't think, like, if the women's going to dish up, like the Pommy girls are going to dish out, what was it, fucking 80-0 or something like that?
It was 90-something.
72-0 when I looked at it. Like, that's just not good. It's not good for the game, not good for the women's game. It's not growing it. Get Australia and New Zealand there, maybe. That'd be better.
So I agree with you. And I was
Still probably one too many.
So Sissy, great point as well. And he's not having a crack at the women's game.
I'm not having a crack at the women's game.
You know,
It's
I've
great.
been a great big supporter of the women's game as well, and I watch it closely. My point with the women's game, and it's a valid point, is it's very hard to find a game at that point of the year for the women. So not only do the women not start at the same time as the men, they start around Origin time. Yeah. So the preparation that's involved for the women to get ready for that game. Now Australia looked great, but Australia would smash England anyway at this point because they're just far superior than England and have been now for since the games continue to grow. New Zealand would be a good shout, but I was messaging my man Jimmy Smith, who's a big supporter of the game as well. He said that it made sense because they had the 2 English Super League teams there.
I get it, but it was an eyesore, mate.
But
it was fucking not good.
So I think if you do keep it, you've either got to go against New Zealand, which would be highly competitive, or you go potentially play
Origin
which
game.
would be
New
weird.
South Wales and Queensland.
Origin 1 and then have a fucking 6-month break and then play.
I don't know, but anything,
Origin 2 and 3. It's hard for the women because you're trying to fit the women's game in and grow it with the men's game, but the scheduling just doesn't match up.
I get it. We want the women's game there, but if you're going to get on the international scene, don't dish that shit up. Do you know what I mean? Like, get the New Zealand and Australia is a brutal game. That's what we need to showcase for the rest of the world, not the fucking English. That was just like a park footy team.
You can tell that they just don't play against that level.
No, they don't. They don't. The Aussie girls are superior. They're full-time athletes now.
Yeah. Shout out to the NRLW because they developed the girls so much.
Yeah, the girls are guns, mate.
They can look so good yesterday.
Mate, they're guns. Their Aussie girls are guns. So they need to go against New Zealand right there, and then everyone will be like, shit.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's a good game.
Well,
that's what I was expecting. Not that.
The Warriors were over there.
Yeah, you could have done it.
That would have been the perfect year to do. Yeah, you're right. They should have done it with New Zealand over there.
New Zealand, because I thought the Pommies were all right. They wouldn't beat the Roosters side.
No, wait.
They wouldn't beat a club side.
They wouldn't beat
Like,
the
they
new
wouldn't beat the
Bulldogs
Broncos.
side. The new Bulldogs side that's coming in. this
Yeah,
year,
like
they
they were
probably
that
won't
bad. I'm just like, well, maybe, obviously they're way behind us. They'll be hopefully better in 5 years or something. But come on, if we're going to put the girls on the biggest stage, you need a fucking great game. And I've seen a lot of tests with Australia and New Zealand. That is like, fuck, they're good games.
After about the 5th try, the girls weren't even celebrating their tries.
Could they do
I reckon that's why most of the crowd left.
An Indigenous Māori women's game?
Nah.
Not enough talent?
No, there is enough talent, but that's obviously All-Stars. Leave that All-Stars over here. That's more appealing because culturally, to have it in Australia and New Zealand.
For sure.
A big part of that is the culture. So you leave that in Australia and New Zealand. I think it's either Australia versus New Zealand or maybe you go Origin 1.
And I reckon the scheduling, when they put in the before the big game, that's why most people left. You got to put them like either first and then the men's, and just like keep building up like that. You can't just go like the NRL, the Pommies, NRL, then the women's. By that, like, if you're a fan, you're just like, God. Then most of them left by that time. You watch the crowd dwindle after that. It wasn't good, mate.
It's similar to Magic Round, though. You know, the 3 games where we've been there and we've watched it on a Saturday gone, and then there was like a really good atmosphere to begin with at the start of the day, but then people sink too much piss. They get a little bit tired.
Yeah.
Apparently, the Pommies smashed all the piss at the start of the day.
Good on them. There was no beer left. I reckon that's why they left. Yeah. The Pommies drank all the piss, so they had to go back to the clubs.
Yeah.
But like the Pommies, the atmosphere for the English game, massive. And then the Canberra Warriors, massive. And it died for the last couple. And the last game was the best game. But maybe next time, maybe put the best game first or second. And then by the end of it.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Because then they'd leave for sure.
But everyone's pumped at the start. Everyone's jam-packed at that first game. You know that. Everyone's waiting all day. And then that first thing, bang, everybody's there. It's like 35,000, 40,000. So you can play 2 of your best games and then play the last 2 that are like the lesser sort of like popular teams.
All right. In summary, I think we can all agree on, if you're not going to get a really competitive fixture for the women's,
don't play.
Then potentially don't play it.
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for the women. The game's growing and all
way
that.
it is,
I'm
mate.
supportive of the women's game, but potentially don't play it. And I think 3 games could work. And if you are going to remove one, I thought, even though that was a blowout as well, surprisingly, the
Super League game.
The Super League game.
Warrington,
By the way,
Was that an official Super League game?
that was an
Who's
official
the back rower for fucking Wigan?
Junior Nsemba.
Jesus, number 12. Was he?
He's going to be.
Where did they get him from?
All right, let me get the rosters up
That
as
is
we talk
built
about.
for fucking
He's
contact.
Someone's going to be after him for sure.
I wonder how old he is. What
He's
nationality?
only young, mate. He's only been around for maybe about. He hit the scene about 3 years ago, I think.
Yeah, well,
Let's get it up.
he looks.
Wigan
he
versus
looks
Warrington. It was 24-0 at halftime too, wasn't it? Wigan Warriors look really good, Mace. 48-24. The Warrington Sammy Burgess's Warrington Wolves fought back, but Junior Nsemba. He's the guy. He looks like a big body.
Could he play NRL?
I think he could, mate. He's got that lankiness of Kai Pearce-Paul as well.
Yeah, but he's a bit thicker. I
And
like
he
him.
won a couple of comps now for the Wigan Warriors the last couple of years. I really look.
Surely someone's like trying to get him over here.
Yeah, well, he's
You know,
definitely
you'd be silly if you weren't, right?
put his name on the map for sure with that performance. Got a few nice highlights. I tell you who I like.
Sorry, how old is he, Hozzy?
He's 20.
Big 20.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, is he only 20? Is he?
Jeez,
27th
give me some dimensions. He's like
195 centimetres.
Shit, so he's 6'4" and a half, 5. 6'5". And what, 108, 110?
What's his weight? 105.
Fuck. That's
Remember
20. He's gonna be
when
putting
we
on
talked
5
about
kilo
at the end of
muscle.
last year, the CEO, I think is his name Radinsky or Redlinsky?
Redlinsky.
And he's talking about I wouldn't swap my halves for, obviously he had to do that. And we talked about that in length about, what he was talking about. I really like that Harry Smith. I think he's got a bit of Luke Keary about him. Now we were driving out to do the live legends while this game was on, but I got out there a little bit early and I was watching some of the highlights of this game, and I didn't watch it in full detail. But geez, Bevan French and Jai Field get a lot of credit for what they do out there, but he's just a really good, rock solid player. And I had people message me or message us on levels about Little stud coming over here, and so many people keep telling me that this Harry Smith.
I've seen Harry Smith play. I wonder what's stopping him from coming over as well. I think they just enjoy. I mean, living in the north of England, they want to play for England and everything like that. Their mates are there and everything. But like, if you really want to test yourself right now, if you're a young English kid, you've got to get to Australia. And I think there's a couple of English blokes over there that could really, really not just like be decent players, they could dominate the NRL. If you just go back 5 or 6 years when Bateman and Hodgson and Georgie Williams come over.
By the way, quickly, it's confirmed. Christian Wolf, the Dolphins head coach who coached at St Helens, finally got his man Morgan Knowles. Morgan Knowles was his he's a good player, isn't he? He's a good player. Yeah. Him and Jack Wellesby are the two guys for St Helens over.
So he's in. When's he coming?
He's coming next year.
Okay, so there's a lot of English guys over there. I mean, I know that if you're a class player over here, you're getting a shitload of money, man. Their salary cap ain't going up for fucking 10 years.
Going back quickly to the format, I reckon the club challenge makes sense to play that game over there. If you're not going to bring both, you still get the representation from the Super League over there, and then you get the premiers there no matter what every year.
Are you talking about Vegas?
Yeah, Vegas.
Yes, 100%.
And then you still, like I said, because
that's the game that you need to like. That's the 3 games, 2 Aussie ones, and then the fucking the World Club Challenge.
Okay,
that's it.
So then if the premiers, like, because we don't know who the premiers are going to be, pretty good chance it could be Penrith again.
Fucking Penrith.
If the premiers end up selected as 4 teams, does that give you enough wiggle room from October to then go to a team, hey, fan bases, team, prepare, we're going to take you to Vegas and you've got 3 months to get it ready? Is that enough time for...
I think they'll have to have some sort of blueprint. I think that's what Gus went over there. I heard on his podcast talking
Gus
about
and
where they're training. He's looking at the surfaces of the training grounds, facilities.
Because a lot of them couldn't get, they're getting AstroTurf training facilities, so you want to get on grass. There's a lot of little variables that they got to get to do and tick those boxes because of the S&Cs. They're very pedantic about that. Where the first guys that went over, they trial and error. Then they'll give their advice to the guys that are going over now, and then that 3rd year it should be all made. You'll be affiliated with the LA Rams or some sort of club where you can train, use their facilities, stay in LA for a couple of days, and you can go to a Laker game, you can do all that sort of stuff, have a little bit of fun, and then get to Vegas and probably have about 3 or 4 days there. So it'll be interesting to see what the Bulldogs do. They're pretty. Every team's very, very professional, right? You got to have a really good relationship with one of those NFL clubs, and they're very willing to have NRL teams go over there and use their facilities because it is off season for those guys. So a bit of a break and
also the game, the NFL would be wanting to promote their game that's coming to
Melbourne. They're coming. The Rams are going to be over here, so it's like whoever's. I think the Rams are pretty accommodating.
Yeah, they are. They were more involved last year.
San Francisco, maybe. You could probably stand.
Well, the 2 teams that are affiliated with Australia and New Zealand are the Philadelphia Eagles and the Los Angeles Rams.
You can't go East Coast.
They've got to throw a shitload of money at Jordan Mailata, get him involved in it as much as possible.
I think they did a little bit, didn't they?
No.
They got Gronk. Gronk was doing the ad, wasn't he?
No, Gronk was down here in Sydney.
No, but Gronk was doing the ads. But Gronk was doing the ads saying that the NRL was coming over.
Yeah.
But I suppose that's to appeal to the American audience, right? Jordan Mailata probably can't do that because he's not Gronkowski. But he needs to be doing more on the NRL side.
No, I believe there needs to be more representation of star players at the I know they put out the invites, but they've got to try to lock some big names in there over there.
Especially the brothers, man.
Cash. Yeah.
Especially the Polynesian boys. They're fucking dominating over there. Especially Jordan, mate. He just won the fucking Super Bowl.
I think he's even in Australia at the moment.
Oh, is he back in Australia at the moment, is he?
Get on Levels podcast, son. Come on.
All right, Mace, let's get to the NRL news. And this is something that sort of I skimmed over or I seen early on a couple of weeks ago, but I just didn't really put too much into it. But we got a message on YouTube from Fitcher. Hey, boys, Manly fan here. Great podcast. It's just getting better and better. I have a question for Hoz in relation to DCE, but you jump in anytime you want, obviously, Mace. An article came out recently where DCE stated that he had actually had conversations with other clubs and that he was keen to play on in 2026. I'm surprised that this didn't garner more traction. A few of his comments more recently have been a bit more vague and unsure. I'm getting the vibe that Manly and DCE may not be seeing eye to eye on something. Do Manly fans have to genuinely worry about DCE playing for another club next year? Personally, I think it would be a tragedy to see DCE retire with another club. Now, DCE might obviously just be weighing up retirement, but I get the impression he wants to play on. I understand you may not be able to answer this as honestly out of respect to DCE, but can you offer any clarity on this? So here's some of the details that I looked from the article that he's talking about, Mace. Seagull skipper Daly Cherry Evans is in no rush to sort out his future beyond 2025.
Sorry, when was this article out?
February 10th, so 3 weeks ago. With the veteran halfback not scared about what it may hold as he ponders life after footy. Of course I've thought about it. That's why there wasn't anything being done, because I thought so much about it, he said at the NRL season launch. I'm not nervous or scared about what the future holds. I'm very much accepted that I'm playing this year on a 1-year deal, and whatever happens beyond that will happen over time. I'm going to be all right. There are so many players that must do this during their careers with 1-year deals. I'm probably so much more fortunate in the fact that I'm not at the start or in the middle of my career. I'm at the end, so I'm at peace that if this is my last year, then it's my last year. I do feel there's more left in me, but only time will tell.
Yeah, well, that's perfect. It's a perfect answer, and that's an honest answer from DCE. He's going to play 1 year at a time, which he should. You don't want to sign a 2 or 3 year deal. The dude's 35. You know, turning 36 this year. That's a lot. I know the halves these days are very protective, but that's these days. He was playing in an era when he was getting pumped, like late and everything like that. It's probably prolonged all the guys' careers like Ben Hunt, Reynolds, and all these sort of older halves, right? But he can still play. It's up to him whether he wants to play. He can still dominate games, run teams around, like to have his experience and try and just say you had a young kid. You're not going to get anywhere near what DCE does. His kicking game, his leadership, his defense, everything like that he's honed over the last 15 years and the experience, you cannot buy that. So I think DCE is in the front seat here. I don't care what they say. You're not going to get another DC or nowhere near it unless they've got a young kid coming up. Or you got Brooks or something. He's been around for a minute as well. So DCE's in a prime position. He can retire whenever he wants and be one of the greatest players in Manly's history, one of the best halves in the game. So like I think he can just go out to the sunset whenever he wants. I think he obviously wants to win a premiership, right? He knows that window's closing, and he's the main reason why they should win a premiership. So if you're Manly, you're just like, oh, do you want to sign? We'll just go 1 year at a time, see how you feel, see how your body is. Like, you don't want to be banged up, and he wants to be running around with his kids in a couple of years. You don't want to be limping around. His body's still in good shape, mentally, physically. Like he's still playing Origin. He's still playing like at a high level. So why are we trying to rush these guys out? Like with sports science and the rehab and everything that these guys do and the professionalism that it's at now, like he can probably play another year or two. It's not going to be too far off where a guy gets to 40. I think Cam Smith could have got to 40. He just didn't want to play anymore. I think one of these halves will probably get to 40 years old and still be playing, like Tom Brady was doing. You know what I mean? Because
LeBron's doing it in the NBA.
LeBron's doing it in the NBA. So it's only a matter of time because the half is like pretty protective at the moment. And I think DC is what, 36? 36 years?
I think so,
So if he plays another 2 years and he's still playing really well, probably fucking play another 2. It's up to him. And if he's not banged up or injured, same as Ben Hunt, same as Reynolds, if they're not banged up or anything, why stop?
It's a tricky one for Manly. Like, I take my bias away from being DCE's mate. I'm just looking at this as Manly.
Yeah.
All right, if I'm Manly, you've got a guy who's continually delivered, been on good money for a long time, still currently the captain of Queensland. Yep. Do you have an out-and-out replacement for him? Now, they've signed that young Joey Walsh from Rugby Union, who they've got high expectations for.
Yes.
But I heard Seabold talking about him saying he's probably, they want to see how he develops this year.
2 years off.
It's all about finding the right price for him, for Manly. If I'm looking at it from a Manly perspective, now they've had Daly, Tom, and Jake on really good money for the last 3-4 years during this window where they've had rosters that could have competed, with the likes of Penrith, and because of the injury to Tommy, they haven't quite been able to reach those heights. this is when it gets tricky for clubs with club legends at the back end of their careers.
He's still playing good.
He's still playing good, mate.
He's not playing shit.
But you're not going to, you said it, you're not going to offer him a 3 or 4 year deal because he's 36. So you've got to be mindful of like how Manly view it. I think Manly would like to keep him. I think the number's crucial. And I think the number's crucial for both Manly and DCE. So DCE, it's a respect thing about what he's been able to, you know, what he's done for Manly. And Manly also going, we've just re-upped guys like Homoli Olakau'atu, Tolu Kola. We've got Jakey's contract, which is going to be tricky as well. We've got Tommy's contract that's been, you know, there's so many factors.
So what do you think his asking price will be? What do you think he deserves? He's still a top 5 half in the game. Yeah. That means it's $1 million. In my head, I'm just like, just pay him $1 million every year. See, because if his productivity out there is fucking better than most halves. So just because he's at an age where it's like, oh, he's 35, he's 36, he's at the back end. So what?
$1 million 1 year?
Yes. Every year till he wants to retire, as long as he keeps playing at that level.
Yeah, as long as he hasn't declined.
Yeah, he hasn't declined.
Yeah, as in
he's
like,
gotten fucking better.
You said $1 million year for one year,
and then
that could be different at the end of this year.
Yes, and then he goes, and then he could have an ACL or, you know, God forbid, an injury when he's like, I don't want to fucking play anymore. Because going through rehab again and trying to get back, it takes 2 years. Do you know what I mean? So it's just like, if he plays fully healthy every year, every game, just say he doesn't get picked for Origin this year or anything like that, which, you know, that's a chance that he mightn't.
I think so.
Might not get picked. So therefore he front loads and gives everything to Manly. So like he's still your best player. When DCE's on, they win.
Here's another thing to consider. So the Manly Seagulls have also locked down Lehigh Hopewadi for another 3 years. I think this is crucial to bring up as well, because there was chat around life after DCE potentially being Luke Brooks playing half, Turbo playing 6, and Lehigh Hopewadi playing fullback. So that could also be something that's happening behind the scenes that could be indicating that. Because I reckon, you know, I know for a fact Daly loves the club. He loves the area. Him and Vess and the family have, you know, they're so ingrained in the Manly culture that he would hate to move.
Unless New Guinea offer him $2 million. Would he go? Would he go? Sorry, that is the play. Just say in a year or two, whatever, and DC is still playing, and he wants to keep playing, and
when does New Guinea come in? 28.
28.
And then the New Guinea. Yeah, I know. Just say he's that guy who. Well, I'm thinking he's that guy who's going to get to 40. So he's played another 2 years, still dominating, still killing it, and then the PNG side offer him $2 million to be the 7.
I think PNG's too far away, mate, but I love it. Give me let's throw
He's
a hypothetical.
Mackay boy, but it's not too far.
Well, this is. I think you'll like this then, because I want to throw some hypotheticals. If for whatever reason it doesn't work out at Manly, and by the way, let me just clarify this because of my other relationship. I don't chat to Ches about contract stuff.
You're friends,
especially when he's going through something like this. So I just talk when we're talking about the wedding. It's like, how's the body? Always you catch up like this, life, mate. And he's feeling really good. There's a part of me that thinks he's still got a couple of years left in him. That's the feeling I'm getting. I'm also looking at it from the Manly side, like I said, what are they thinking? Can they afford to pay him $1 million? I don't know if they can.
Why not?
I don't know if they can. So hypothetical. We just seen the sweepstakes for a guy like Ben Hunt recently, and all the teams that are trying to get Ben Hunt, exact same age, come through at the same time. Have been he's been playing with Queensland with him as long as sort of he's been playing well. So, what teams make sense for DCE if for whatever reason he doesn't end up?
Okay, Titans,
the Queensland teams,
Yeah, some Queensland team. He could easily play 7 up there for North Queensland. Didn't. That'd be
Sydney.
good.
Any Sydney clubs?
No. I mean,
could you see the Roosters go after someone
just
someone
for
like DCE?
No, I mean,
Sammy Walker.
No, they're after a 5'8". I think South Sydney would be looking for some 7.
South is smoky.
South is all right. I think North Queensland's shout's good because he's a Mackay boy. You know, it's like going back home. Not Brisbane, Gold Coast. You know, you can push Jaden Campbell to 6 and he can play 7.
They don't get Dylan Brown.
Yeah, Redcliffe. I think he can play.
Knights.
Yeah, the Knights. There's a lot of teams, mate, that would be willing to pay for him.
Imagine if Ches went to Para.
Imagine if they lose
They lose Dylan Brown.
We did just sign Moses. re-sign.
Yeah, no, but you can play 76 Moses and Ches easy.
But I think there's a lot of takers for that guy because he's still playing at a high level. Like his kicking game is elite. His leadership is elite, and you cannot afford, like, just say if he comes on the market and you're like, oh, we've got this young kid, he's going to be a gun. Yeah, well, he's not tried and tested. You know, like you'd have DCE there trying to teach him everything and just like put him on game, you know, like educate him, mentor him, and try and get him to that next level. That's what I'll be trying to do with him because like he's a dime a dozen. Like he's not a dime a dozen, he's a little diamond. You know, like you got to keep those guys, mate. The only way you'd be so angry if they let go of him and then they just go.
It'd suck to see him playing another
jersey. It would
jersey.
suck to see him play. I think, you know, he's played over 300 games for that club. He's won premierships. He's been their best player, good young kid, been through the ups and downs of that club, and I think he deserves a finish there. I just think the price, I'm not sure if he's really going, oh, I want a shitload of money. Like he's on a fair bit of money. He's done well. I think it's all about legacy now, and I think he stays at Manly unless they've got a fucking killer, which I don't think they have.
I think it'll be it's a respect. The money will be a respectful thing. Like Ches doesn't want to. Ches wouldn't want to take too much of a pay cut, but then Manly also trying to get him probably if they
if they offer anything less than 800, that's disrespect.
They can't offer deals where it's like we'll offer you XYZ after your career because that's a salary cap breach, isn't it?
Yes.
Just pay him what he's worth. I think what he's worth, he's a top 5 halfback at the moment, so it doesn't matter about his age as long as he keeps his productivity up. It's just like in the NFL. If your numbers are good, you get paid accordingly. You could be fucking 38, 40 years old.
Yeah, it's definitely a watch for sure moving forward because not only his contract, but Jakey's I think expires in 26 and Turbo's might be the same year.
I think
Jakey and Turbo got theirs to expire in the same year in 26.
Jakey and Turbo are willing to take pay cuts, and they've been very loud about that as well because they love that club. They're you know, Ches is a Manly boy, but he's a Queenslander and he's from up there. So these other guys are from the Trebojevic brothers are Manly born and bred. Monavale boys.
I think Monavale. Monavale Raiders. Does that sound right?
It's Monavale, I know that.
All right, let's get to some other transfer news. Luke, you can look into the Turbos coming off contract and let us know as we go on. But Mitch Moses has re-signed. Now, this has been sort of...
Oh, shit, has he?
Yeah,
good on you, Lukey. Look at him over there, happy as hell.
Oh, by the way, shout out to Lukey. He got to do some stuff with Parramatta as well. When you actually got to speak to Mitch Moses about re-signing and being a captain.
He hadn't re-signed at that point, or it wasn't announced.
So it was your interview that got him over?
Yeah, it should be out on Para Plus, hopefully.
Okay, Para Plus content. That's some of the content that I did for him at the back end last year as well.
So
Parramatta superstar Mitch Moses has re-signed with the Eels on a new deal that will extend his stay until the end of 2029 season. The 30-year-old joined the club in 2017. Having signed a fresh contract in 2023, it had all those player options, which dictated whether he wanted to stay beyond 2026. However, the Eels power brokers have moved to eradicate those get-out clauses now, handing their halfback a newly appointed captain a new deal on Friday. So I think basically the length of the contract hasn't changed. He's been given more money, but the clauses are no longer there. So they're not going to get themselves in the Dylan Brown sort of... You'd think
1.2, 1.3?
I think so. You'd think.
And then up towards whatever the salary cap's going up.
Whatever it may be, yeah. But like they just got rid of the clauses, I think, for the biggest part of this.
Fucking good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a great sign. It's good for Parramatta because he's definitely a top 5 halfback. He's heart and soul of that club. So, you know, him signing, hopefully, like he'd be going, fuck, come on, Dill. Let's run this. And
do you think there's a bit of in it as well?
I think so. I think they're boys, mate.
Yeah,
they're boys.
They are.
You know, they're really tight and they want to build something out there and they want to win. You know, they haven't won a grand final since '86. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a long time for that club. That's a premier club. It's a blue chip club. So I think they'll be going, trust the process with Jason Riles. He can coach. And then, you know, the development of some young kids and then recruitment. You know, you got to trust that. And if you don't trust it, you'll probably leave if you're Dylan Brown. If you're sitting there talking about Rolsey, about his 5-year plan, what's going to happen, because that's what these coaches are going to have. Like, who are we thinking we're going to get? What positions do we need? All this kind of stuff. And if it sounds good, I think Dylan Brown will sign.
It's, you know what? It's a really it's a big, huge tick of approval for Jason Riles, by the way.
Yeah.
So he goes through a really tough time and gets rid of Mitch is he's close with Dylan Brown, but his two
yeah.
best mates are
Yeah,
Regan
he's
Campbell-Gillard and
Yeah.
Clint Gutherson. So he gets the captaincy, and not only does he get the captaincy, he removes the player options, which is a great sign for Parramatta fans, and to show that Mitch Moses has really enjoyed his time with Jason Roll so far.
You clearly tell at the launch that they were very close.
But he fucking, he's been enjoying his footy. It helps when you're killing it. You know what I mean?
Well, he hasn't even played a game
No,
yet.
but I'm saying, last year, what a fucking year.
Yeah.
You know, everyone was down him about Origin. Boom, dominated. You know,
Played
he's
for
got to
Australia.
a grand final. He got his test nod. He should be happy. And then he just signs a deal like that. And then it's he's probably in the peak of his career now.
He's clear, like you said, top 5. He's clear cut number 2, I reckon now.
Yeah, top 5, yeah.
He's I reckon he's distanced himself so it's Nath
Cleary,
and then
Moses.
Jerome. You forgot
Cleary,
Jerome.
Moses.
yeah, but Jerome hasn't. You know how much I love Jerome. Jerome,
They're the top
we need to
3.
see it at the Tigers now for an extended period of time.
No, Jerome Hughes.
Hughes.
Oh, Jerome Hughes.
So
Yeah,
he's a top 3. He's top 3.
Lucky top
Luai's
3.
not even. Luai's not even a 7. We don't even know that yet.
Yeah,
Top
no,
3.
Yeah,
So it's top 3,
Top
and then
three.
and then you got
That's fair.
DCE, and then
yeah, it's on
maybe
who's
Benny
on form
Hunt.
that week
Yeah.
almost.
Dalian medalist. Yeah, you're right. He deserves a shout.
Yeah.
Good save there, Lukey.
what I was
Cheese.
gonna
I
Jerome-
could hear the YouTube comments just bubbling.
Yeah, that
no,
would have
I was
been.
onto it.
Cheese story just continues to develop at the Roosters. Something's going to have
What's
to give soon
happening there?
because there are
Jeez.
suggestions now the Roosters regret the signing of hooker Brandon Smith, amid reports he could leave the club before his deal runs out at season's end. Smith is sidelined with a serious knee injury he suffered late last season and isn't expected back for a few months. It's possible he's played his last game for the Chooks. The Roosters have also signed Reece Robson from 2026. A report emerged this week that several super clubs were interested in Brendan Smith, but it's unclear if Smith would be considering a move to the UK. I know Cheese a little bit.
The fuck is happening there?
There's no way he's going to the UK, but for this to continually keep getting brought up, this is for sure being instigated by the Roosters. This shit doesn't just keep coming up because by accident.
He must have fucked up somewhere.
Whatever the situation is or however they feel about it, I feel like the Roosters are using media pressure to try to get this to happen as quickly as possible is my take from this article.
And then he keeps talking about it on the buy round. So
He
it's sort of
needs to
like
get
it's
off podcasts, man.
Yeah.
He needs to get off podcasts and just concentrate on his footy and rehab.
Yeah. Look, it's for sure a tricky one as well. The thing with Cheese too, he's such an open book.
He's the best.
Yeah.
And he goes into detail so
That's
much
what I mean.
about
Like,
it.
as a current player, it's all right when we can sit here and talk about
Yeah.
that, but as a current player, it's not a good look. I don't know. I mean, he just needs to get his runs on the board, get his knee right, get on the field, prove everybody wrong, get back to the way that Cheese plays.
See, that's the hard thing though. He's currently going through an ACL
I
injury.
know. Just lay low. And then
Yeah.
just get out of the media. The whole thing. Just stop getting on fucking podcasts and everything because people start getting sick here. Then you fucking add these rumors on top of it. People start adding it up, and then they start believing the shit. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's just remove yourself from being on any sort of socials.
I find myself conflicted with this too. And I love the authenticity of Cheese.
Yeah,
and
so
that's
do
why
I.
I love him.
So do I.
And I love guys that stay true to themselves even when times are tough. And that's
Yeah.
the part I love about him the
I do
most.
too, but I just know how the game works, and I'm just like, with fans and with the Roosters, and
Yes,
just like,
a
mate,
club
you just
like the Roosters.
sometimes you just got to just get the fuck out of the limelight. Stay off Instagram, stay off podcasts, because he's a very truthful and he's very authentic.
He can't
and
help
it's
but
like,
tell the truth,
He can't.
can
It's
he?
just like me.
Yeah.
He's like just like you just sit there and you talk footy and you just fucking comes out. But I'm retired. Like I'm not in that position he is, and he just needs to understand what position he is in, and just step back a little bit.
Did you see Paul
get everything
George?
sorted?
You see Paul George just recently.
Fucking hammered.
Yeah, he's been getting hammered because he's got Podcast P over there.
He's known for podcasts now.
So he come out and put out a shout out the other day saying he's stepping away from the podcast because he was getting
He's more
hammered from the
podcasts
Philly
than he played
fans.
games.
And he's not even playing. He's focusing on his recovery too. Isn't
No,
that
he
right?
played. He played. They got to
he
win.
did.
But
They-
he was
they
out.
beat,
But at the start of the year, he was out. He had more podcasts done than he had games.
yeah, he
You can't do
he
that
missed
when
a
you're
couple
on
of games for sure.
$52 million a year he's on.
Yeah, he's on good cash. A 3-year deal, 150, I think he got. But it shows it. we're moving into a new world with the podcast game and how it's going to develop, and there's going to be more people that that start podcasts. And the boys down at Melbourne, the 167 podcast, we're going to have Money on for our first episode on Thursday. I'm going to chat to him throughout the week.
Who's the other one we got? Money
and Foz.
Fuck, how good! I was trying to tell someone before. I fucking totally forgot. I just said Munster.
But it's definitely a weird space with players that are still playing, because as soon as things go wrong, it's like concentrate on the main thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a double-edged sword. Like you want to have your voice. You don't really want to go on like Fox and Channel 9, and you want to control your own narrative. But then when you're in a predicament like Cheese or Paul George, they fucking come at you. It's all good when you're playing well, you're doing podcasts and you're killing it. Even like Nico Hines was copping a heap of shit last year. Doing podcasts and like fucking playing ordinary, and then everyone's like, well, concentrate on footy. This is a fucking an hour out of your day. It's not like you're not at training and you're just doing a podcast. Like, people need to understand that. But the perception is the perception 100%. Is like you're doing podcasts and you should be concentrating, should be going down the field kicking 40-20s.
Another layer on that. Cheese is answering questions about media reports on himself. Nico's doing a storytelling podcast.
Yeah, I know, but like
that's true.
But like Nico's talking about mental health and this and that, and Smitty Cheese is talking about that, answering questions about the game. It's like, fuck, no. Both of yous know.
If I'm looking at it from the Roosters as well, the part with Cheese on the buy round, I think that the Roosters are also, they're very hard to get players for the Roosters for anything podcast or media. They're really
inner sanctum, mate.
Inner sanctum,
and he's
sort of
like, and he's
so even if Cheese isn't particularly talking about himself, talking about other topics, I think that sort of would be a factor in the frustration.
And Roosters are very, very protective over their culture and everything like that, and what happens on the inner sanctum. And he's not giving it away, but when they ask him questions about some certain things and he answers honestly, it's like, I know what Nick Politis and all those other guys are like. They're like, I don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that. So if he goes on there and he just changes whatever he's talking about, it'd be way better. Just don't fucking answer footy questions, or just get off. You don't need the money.
Just have a break until you get back playing footy. Have a bit of a break, mate.
Get back to training, and then
that could be a good shout.
Start talking about like your rehab. How's rehab going? That's all he should be talking about with footy. How's your rehab going? What's your date to come back and everything like that? Nothing more.
We'll see what happens, because again, that's another story that's going to develop as we get going. Ready to talk some footy? Vegas games?
Yeah, of course.
Raiders 30 defeat the Warriors 8 in the first game. We talked about their back three, but let's talk about it a little bit more in detail. KO Weeks, Savelio Tamale, and Xavier Savage.
Fucking hot tamale, jeez.
They all had 7 tackle breaks each. They're going to be a problem coming out of the backfield.
They're damaging, man.
They're high risk, high reward players, mate.
They run hard, man. They test you. When they're coming out of their yardage, they just get told, bit of footwork, find your front, fucking run as hard as you can, and they test you, man. Weeks is probably the smallest out of all of them. But you fucking try. If you don't have a decent line on him, he's skinning you, bang, and they're all dropping back. Sebastian Chris and everyone like that, they get back for play ones.
Tim McCall.
Tim McCall. They're sprinting back because they
nice
know.
Back five, eh?
It's great. Yeah, it's a great back five. And then it complemented by Big Joey Tarpanay was a fucking animal. Big Papa was out. Papa looks like he's lost 6-7 kilos.
I think
looks great.
He looks a good Nick.
The bruh.
One last hurrah
the
for
horse
Big Papa.
Yeah, maybe.
I think this year he can break. I think he can break Croaks' record for most games for Canberra. Yeah. He's got 1 year left on his contract.
I think he can play an easy another year.
Okay.
If he's looking like that and he looks motivated, and I think when you're winning, last couple of years haven't been winning.
They're going to win this year. I like your pick for them for top
good.
8.
I think Strange looks good.
You copped a lot of stick for your Raiders take when we did our pick. Hey, they look good, mate.
Exactly. I knew it. I'm not stupid. But I like the way they're built. I like the horse bra. He's got he was trying to offload every single ball. Just chill out with that. Tarps was just like an absolute beast. And then the back row is very well balanced. I like the back row. Huddy Young is a fucking triple threat. He hits hard. He can kick. Hits good lines. He's just he can jack of all trades. Yeah, tough as shit.
Yeah.
The other back rower is
Hoskins,
who's got silky skills, right? When he put that Timoko away on that sideline, that was brilliant hands.
Nice soft hands.
Brilliant hands. And then your Locker Smithies, who just like typical Pommy, just tackles everything, hard as nails.
Let's go back to Horsburgh. Let's go back to let's start in the middle.
Very proud of him. Because he was this time last year, I think he was banged up, he was injured, he was overweight, he was not motivated. He ended up coming back. There was rumours about him getting flicked, and he's just gone fucking, you know what? Gone back to the lab, worked his ass off in the preseason, and he's got Ricky's approval because Ricky loves him, right? You know, like he just come off an Origin year in 2023, but injuries hamper your elevation, and it happened to him. So it was just like, okay, you got to deal with that sort of shit. And he was copping a little bit, but like...
Him and Ricky have gone through a love, hate. Now they're back to love relationship.
That's what Ricky does.
I think him and Joseph Tarpanay are in for a huge year. Yeah. Big Papa started, by the way, in this game.
Yeah, you can start Papa and you put and you can put like Horsburgh to lock.
I don't think it's going to be every week, but I think just to set the tone for this game.
Because it's the Warriors.
Morgan Smithy started off the bench, but I can see Horsburgh and Tarpanay with Big Papa coming on as their third guy off the bench.
It just depends who the like. I think Ricky would have been going, take care of Fanua Blake to Big Pup.
No. Fanua Blake played in the next game. They had Fisher, Harris, and Barnett.
Fish. Yeah, take care of Fisher.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that
was a big part of it.
Yeah, exactly. Because
going toe to toe with Barnett and
stop the
Fisher
middles
Harris.
because and once you stop that, it was quite easy for Canberra.
I think by the end of the year, Horsburgh and Tarpanay is going to be considered one of the best 1-2 punches in the game. I'm looking at Paddy Carrigan and Payne Huss. Obviously, you're going to be right up there. I'm looking at Moses Lotta looks just as good with Lindsay Smith, which we'll get to in a little bit.
I like Horsburgh when he gets a little bit wider from the ruck because his leg speed won't allow him. Like he tries a little bit of footwork when he's just at A and B, doesn't really work, and then he tries an offload. If he can catch at B and then head to C, a little bit of an overs, and then straighten up into that space, find his front, or twist around and find an offload. Going near, because Marcus works so hard, if you're anywhere near him, you know what I mean? Like A and B, they sprint up, C's up, and you're just getting 3 outed, you know? So then you find yourself in a shit position and you're on your back because defense is so good. But when he starts a little bit wider, catches and moves a little bit, he's a lot more productive.
He's got pretty nice late footwork.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So get a little bit wider. The footwork in the middle doesn't work because you just get fucking smacked. But if you can get a little bit wider, especially if they play the balls at the left post or right post or in the middle, get a bit wider, have a lead, you know, just to take those flies off you a little bit, find your front, and then you've got to get that quick play the ball for a guy like Joey Taps who's got more leg speed, runs more direct, and then your Huddy Youngs, then your Smithies, and then your Big Papas and all that. So they've got a really well-balanced side.
Yeah, they do.
You know, so I like that.
Really
and then
like
quick play the ball, Starling, boom, straight through the middle.
Let's go back to Huddy Young. I think him and Ethan Strange, they're going to develop a really nice left edge. They're perfect for each other because Ethan Strange isn't your traditional 6. He's a ball runner. Yeah. He's not like super skillful. He's more like tough, fast, strong. Yeah. We compare him to Money a little bit, don't
like
we?
the early Munster. Yeah. Money just developed into like, you know, nice little kicking game, strong as hell. But like Money's like, he's like skill set is high, right? But he's not known for throwing like fucking 30-meter cutout balls.
Yeah, or
he's got it in him, but he's got beautiful soft hands.
Yep.
And that's what Strange has got.
And Huddy Young doesn't want a ball player who's just going to make him run lines all the time, does he?
Huddy Young, early ball. He's the other guy. Give me early ball, cut me under, or whatever. Just like, and defensively, that's what I like. Mm-hmm. Because Strange is after it, and Huddy Young goes after it as well. So he's protecting Strange, right? It'd be like his little brother out there. Mm. So they got a good little combination.
I think there was a penalty that they gave away in the second half, and we were laughing about it when we were driving home from the function yesterday. And they're both like, Hudson Young's got into him, ripped the ribs of one of the players. I think it was that young Tane Tuapiki. Yeah. And Hudson Young's just got his hand all over his face, pushing it into the dirt.
Like, and you're not allowed,
those two are going to be doing that every single game.
Just got to hide it a little bit when the refs aren't there because the ref was there and Huddy Young was like and you can't do what he was trying to get up. I get it. You know, I've seen it a billion times, but you can't do that now.
Yeah.
Can you? It's like hands in the face,
Not,
hands in
not,
the face.
not so
Not
obvious.
so blatant.
And not for so long.
Whole fucking
He was like
hand,
that.
whole hand is covering this young kid's face. And he's trying to get up. But yeah, I like what I saw. I just and Fogarty is the key to that side. His kicking game is outstanding. When I say cage kick, people at home, like just say if he's on his halfway, like the cage kick is within just say 15 metres out, 15 metres in that corner box.
Yep.
That's where they try to get. Watch how many times the good kickers get it in there, Cleary and everything like that. And then the chase, you're trying to lock them in that first tackle.
Yeah.
And
Set your defensive setup.
So he's so accurate, Fogarty, because end over end, enough hang time. When it's about 50 out or even 30, 50 out, he can put it on a dime as well.
He's got
Most
a big
good kickers,
boot.
But it's the hang time of 4 seconds that you can 4 seconds you can get 40 metres easy.
Yeah.
You
Catch
know,
and hit.
Yeah, catch like once most of boom, like you see Liam Martin do it because Cleary does it so well.
Yeah.
Catch, you got 2 steps and you're already fucking lined up. So
If you don't watch Canberra like week in, week out, like I said, they were going really well at the start of last year. Then he got injured. He missed 10 weeks. Everyone talks about the Adam Reynolds injury. Everyone talks about the Nathan Cleary injuries. It affected Canberra. When he come back at the back end of the year, they started playing really well again. They just fell short, mate.
and Fogarty,
This team's, there's something there with Canberra.
yeah, and Fogarty's a good defender.
He's
Seen
solid
him?
defender.
See the fucking size of his arms.
Really
he's
good
not
defender.
he's not a little half. He's fucking massive.
And now he's got a bit of iron sharpens iron with this young Ethan Sanders sitting behind him, applying pressure, 3-year deal. It's going to bring out the best in Fogarty too, and he's looking for, I think there's something around, I think they've got up until round 6 potentially, like an activation with one of the clauses in his contract. So
I like the bench
I like
too.
the Raiders.
That's what I thought were last
Your
week.
man Simisasangi?
Yeah, Simisasangi, Mariota. Who else was the other big guy?
so Smithy started off the bench.
Smithies
with Papa
and
Lee,
someone else.
Owen Paddy.
Yeah? Okay.
That's your 4.
Yeah. But
So Owen Paddy. Then you had Smithy started because Papa Lee
Mariota
started.
cut his hair?
Mariota was good.
But he cut his hair, right? That's what I
Yeah,
think.
a little bit. Yeah. He would have trimmed it.
Not sure. Anyway, they were guns. So I thought that's where they really they got the Warriors, because the Warriors had some really young kids coming off the bench, not as fit. They had that young kid who scored that who carved the Bulldogs up last year.
Like a Halasima.
But it was hard for him to get into the game because Canberra was just dominating field position and everything like that.
You're right. It was a good arm wrestle for the first 20.
Yeah, it was good. But like Canberra, so when Papa went off, like the replacement, you didn't lose any momentum.
Morgan Smithy's come on.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was just like you just can continue and Big Tups and the Bra can play big minutes.
Oh, Horsburgh played the first 40.
Yeah, easy. He looks like he's fit now.
Yeah.
He looked sloppy last year.
Joseph Tarpany said he was the standout for preseason for him. Did a full, because he's been battling injuries for the last couple of years. Had a full preseason. I think he ran his fastest ever Bronco, Tup said. So, yeah, Horsburgh's in for a big year. Starling, he was the other guy. He was really good, had a good 60 minutes. Owen Paddy, I just love the look of Owen Paddy.
See, he just throws lasers as well. I like that. Just like he's a natural half. I mean, he's a natural hooker.
Yeah.
Just throws darts. He's got that Harry Grant, Danny Badiris sort of swag.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's got he sort of leans a little bit
He's
like Harry.
A bit taller than Harry. So
reckon?
like Bedsy was a bit taller than Harry as well. But like the way they can, before they play the ball, they scan everything. Yeah, I love those hookers who eyes up all the time, and they'll go for the best option all the time. And he's a forward, like just say with your makeshift 9, they'll always find the half on the double leads, and that where your 9s, your natural 9s, always think forwards first.
Matty and Braith brought it up during the call.
I thought they were really good in the call too.
Yeah. He comes on, first touch. Nice, beautiful spiral. Matty talked about the way it just come off out of the hands.
Easy, beautiful.
But did you see how he passed the ball and then quickly jumped back to get onside so he could get on the kick chase? Yeah. And then he comes up with a beautiful one-on-one tackle on Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, his first tackle in first grade.
Just things
he
like
could be a player, mate.
Nah, he's got it. But Canberra, look, they were impressive. What do you think of the Warriors?
All right, let's get to the Warriors. They've got really good leaders in terms of, like, if you think about Fish, Kurt Capewell, Mitch Barnett. I think they're missing, with Sean Johnson moving on, a chief communicator.
Yeah, Metcalf's a 6.
It feels like
Tamari Martin's
whether he's a 6, whether he's a 7, whether Tamari Martin is, it doesn't look like, watching that game yesterday when it got to the points, because they did a good job getting in and putting some pressure on to get into good ball and have a couple of good opportunities. Didn't look like anyone was willing to, and it's only early, it's only the first game, to go, I'm the dude, this is what we're doing.
Yep.
Felt like it was just, and I think that could even be Wade Egan. I think Wade
He
Egan's
was off.
I think Wade Egan's got to be the guy to take it, and he can take more onus on. He's the one been around the longest. He's played it there for a number of years now. Someone's got to take the reins. That's the part. Like I was watching it going. Dylan Walker come off the bench and he probably played the best out of anyone because he was just dictating play. Yeah. He was getting there. I want the ball inside shape. It looked like he was communicating well. They look like they're missing a chief communicator out.
I don't think Metcalf's a seven, mate. I just think he's a runner. I think he's just in the left side. And I think Tamari Martin is a good seven. Like he's a decent seven. And I think Chanel is a 14. Yeah. I think they should go back to that. I think they should go back to that. I think they fucked it up. I don't think Metcalf, he's a runner, mate. He's not an organiser.
So what do you reckon it is with Tamari Martin? Because this is a couple of times.
I don't know. I don't know what he's done.
Like I know defensively he's come up short a couple of times, but
I think that's what he was. I think that's it.
If you look at the trial too, where they played well, and I was thinking about this after watching the trial against the Storm when they looked pretty good. There's no chance Nickel Klutz that. I think when you're lacking in having like out and out 6 and 7 that's established, then having an extra ball player can take a little bit of pressure away from him. So you're right. I like Tamari Martin and Tomato Martin and Luke Metcalf with Chanel Harris-Tavita potentially coming off the bench and playing that Dylan Walker role, or Dylan Walker or whatever it may be. Yeah. That's when I think they look the most dangerous. And he can play hooker
as well. Give Egan a bit of a rest. I just think that's the combination they need. That doesn't work. Whatever they did, that combination, whatever they showed yesterday, that's not it. That's not it. So I reckon bite the bullet now. Don't try and persist with it because it just doesn't work. Because Metcalf is not a 7. He's a runner. I need him wider from the ruck so he can skin the 4-man. You know, like everything like that. Like get those left side, and he's got like. Who's the left side back row? Capewell hitting those holes. You got like Clockstad out the back. You know, I think that's the go, because they looked all right in some little bits, and then some of the just like soft tries. It was just soft tries. When the Sebastian Chris try, the first try, just like step, like stepping inside shot. Like you got to stop those. That was very stoppable tries.
Fish and Barnett. They were okay, a bit quiet, but I think they're the style of the game dictated where they just weren't able to...
Back foot.
Yeah.
Straight away. Back foot straight away. I'm not sure what you expect from your middles. You're just trying to lay a platform. But, they were getting skinned on the edges big time.
Those two are going to get better as the season goes on too. Like it's a new combination, and also when everyone, because of the standards and this that they set and the way that they play, they're sort of two guys that because everyone's going to go through, it's like a honeymoon period now, right? Yeah. Rounds 1 to 5 where everyone's feeling themselves, everyone's super fit. Everyone gets to a period where they start to feel a bit sore, start to feel a bit sorry for themselves, little niggling injuries. That's when they'll play their best foot.
It'd be interesting to see when the Warriors start really well and their front foot. Like they get off to the good start. Then you'll see Barnett come into his own. Then you'll see Fish come into his own. Niokora, all those sort of blokes really just fucking going at it. So Wade Egan's, he needs the timing off Wade Egan needs to be a little bit better from Fish.
They started to get good timing off him at the end of the game.
Yeah, that's shit because they haven't played fuck all football together in that sort of environment. Trial games, nothing. You can't replicate game speed. And those games over there, and I think both teams rose to the occasion of being in Vegas. You know what I mean? It's just like you just elevate. There's an atmosphere and it's an event. You know what I mean? So mostly the good players play well. So Warriors, I'm not sold on them.
Are you not super concerned? Are you concerned in any way?
I'm concerned if they fucking leave those halves there. If they leave Metcalf at 7, very concerned. I think Tamari Martin is an out-and-out 7.
Whether you change the jersey number or that means like if it's even just a mindset or whatever, but even if they just bring Tomato Martin in and partner him in the halves, do you think that would be something
Chanel,
you'd be looking at?
Harris-Tavita is he's a really good defender, right? Really good. And I think that's what they were going for defence.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because he's a gun defender. But I think I've seen him play some games when he comes off the bench. He fucking hits hard. You can put him anywhere.
I thought Roger looked really good on the wing, having the ability to come off the wing and just get those carries, get in whenever he wants. It's the new sort of hybrid model of the wing in the modern day where he had 23 carries for 191 metres.
Do you think, like, just say, I look at Zach Lomax, I look at some of these centres who played wing, who can play wing but prefer to play centre, like, is it a little bit of a business decision? Because you are not doing 25 fucking hit-ups from centre. Like those play twos, getting out from play two, that's one of the hardest runs you can have, especially playing from that right side and then everybody's just loading up on that play two. It's a tough run.
It's a good point.
Yeah, because like just say like if you're a gun centre, like just say even like Tuivasa, he could easily play centre, but he's a lot more effective because he's getting the ball in his hands at least 20 times, right? So you're going to make something's going to happen.
I think the difference between them two is I think Rog likes those.
He's tough, yeah. And I think
carries.
Zach Lomax is a lot more effective from wing because I want Zach to have at least 20 touches because I reckon 5 or 6 of those touches is going to turn into something. And he gets either a quick play the ball, he gets momentum, he plays like, so I think that wing position is one of the most important positions in the game.
Yeah.
Like if you have 2 wingers that are willing to just go fucking smash mouth football, play hard, a little bit of footwork, and Tuivasa when he gets off that edge, boom, you got to hit it, left foot, right foot. He's got a skill set to pass. When the centers in that drop back, you can like just say if you're in the middle of the field, you can bounce to the other side, bounce to the short side. There's a lot of options there. So I don't know when you have those capabilities like your Zach Lomaxes and Tuivasas and like, even like Selwyn Cobbo, like guys like that. I want them on play twos. Right? They need to be able to swap, I think. So
I think he's going to thrive this year. I think they're going to play him at wing and he's going to have a monster year. Yeah,
and when they start getting on the front foot, because they were on the back foot the whole game. So when they start catching it on the 30 and you get first one's on the 40 and then Tuivasa gets on the second wave, you know what I mean? Then you're on the fucking 50. It's a bit different, but they were on the back foot the whole time. He still killed it.
Let me get it up. I'm going to get the draw quickly. I'm going to look at the Warriors next and see how they can bounce back from this. All teams. No, I want the New Zealand Warriors. They have Manly at home at Go Media Stadium in round 2. So we've got the Manly still got to play their first game against Cowboys at 4 points. Then they got the Roosters at home. Then they got the Tigers, and then they get the bye. So they got a nice little three game period there to try figure it out. Before, like I said,
would you bite the bullet if you were Webby and go, all right, tomorrow's 7?
I would have started Tomato.
Fucking over. But they didn't. But right now, you're just going, what is the problem? I'm like, our halves.
Yeah. Do you want me to send it to you? On Friday, he had a fair few quotes in the Herald on it. Do you want me to send it to you?
No, just read them out.
Yeah, hang on. I've just got out of the article. Keep talking.
Yep. Yeah, I just think they just need to. Webby needs to bite the bullet. He knows what it looks like now. It's not that good. Chanel's should be 14.
We've also criticised Adam O'Brien for chopping and changing with the Knights. Do we want to give this combination?
He hasn't fucking chopped and changed as much as O'Brien.
Yeah, I know, but like
he's another level.
But do we want to see? Do we want to give Chanel like Warriors fans? You let us know.
No, I don't think.
We've got so many Warriors fans.
I don't think so. I think Chanel's had a few chances, and I just think he plays his best football off the bench.
Remember when Tomato Martin played? Metcalf was out last year. Sean Johnson
killed it.
Footy. And I think he played with Chanel, and he just fucking he was almost our dog of the week a couple of times, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. You either have like he just needs to be 7, and then make whatever the fuck it is, Metcalf or Chanel, because Chanel's a good defender. I still like him at 6 as well.
Do we end up seeing Jet Cleary quicker than anticipated?
Fuck no way.
You never know.
You never know.
This was the 2nd of March. This quote's come out.
All right, so that was just before
in Vegas.
Yep.
I've got no doubt he'll play football at some stage. Tamate is a world-class player. We're very lucky in that sense. If he gets his opportunity, I know we're a good chance of winning that week if he plays. That's what other clubs don't have. If they lose a half, they don't have someone like Tomato who can come in and pick up the pieces. He'll play a part for sure. It's going to take a whole squad to win this thing, and that's what we want to do.
Okay, so Webby must have been interviewed after the game with that, and then that was clipped up because, you're right, that was yesterday. So, it's a wait and see. Warriors fans, let us know how you feel about the combination. Do you like their spine? Would you make any changes like me and Mason putting Tomato back in there?
They go 0-2. Warriors, Waz fans would be going.
Well, they are going on too because they're playing Manly round 2, so then we're going to lose to Manly.
Yeah, easy.
Up the Waz.
What's their third game? Sorry,
Roosters. They can get a win there.
Could go on 3.
They'll get a win against the Roosters. All right, let's get to the Panthers. 28, they defeat the Sharks. 22. Big 3 were enormous, mate. We talked about them at the start when we talked about Isaiah Yeo as your old bull of this week. But Edwards, he looked a bit jittery early. Had a couple of wayward passes.
Yeah,
but
weird.
He got himself together really quickly and was.
I love that
enormous.
because it didn't even faze him at all, and no one said a word to him when he threw the ball on the ground, and because they know it's not Dylan Edwards-esque. It's like, dude, just get better, and he did.
Just a little Vegas jitters.
Yeah,
something,
maybe.
Yeah. Occasion?
Just fucking slipped out of his hands. It was probably a miscommunication. But as I said, I'll apologise to Panthers fans. I said this last week. I said, I'm not going to be surprised if the Panthers win. I just thought that they haven't been going that well the last couple of years. They don't really, it's not a massive priority. Round one. Yeah, round one. I'm not talking about semi-finals or anything. I just said, look, round one, Cronulla's a pretty good team. They'll be looking at that going, we need to start off good. Let's get them. Yep. They're up for it was up for grabs. It's in Vegas. There's no home ground. There's no advantage.
True.
And I was just thinking, Cronulla looks like, they had a big preseason. They've got Fanua Blake there. They look sharp. There's been a lot of hype around them. I'm like, yeah, maybe they'll get them. But I'm not going to be surprised if Penrith win. They won.
You're right.
But I said that the back 5 was going to fucking be way better than Penrith's. Fucking way off. They were terrible.
Even with Casey McLean going out so early, Dane Laurie coming off the bench. We were communicating on during in our chat throughout the game, and I was sort of joking about that I played with Eisenhuth, Matty Eisenhuth, New South Wales Cup 2012.
How old was he?
And he was at that point, so I've got some details on Eisenhuth and some of the players, right? So I played 2012 New South Wales Cup with Eisenhuth, and he was maybe a year or two after 20. So it would have been about 21 or 22. So I wanted to have a look at him specifically, and Ivan. And do you think Ivan and the Panthers don't get as much credit for not only developing players, because everyone knows about the nursery out in Penrith, but the recruitment of journeymen and veterans, like we do for Melbourne, whenever we talk about like Katoa, Ali Katoa at the Storm, underwhelming at the Blore. We all think Stefano's going to have a big year, but guys that have played at other clubs and then gone to Melbourne and then flourished. Like, look at this, like Eisenhuth, 32 years old. He debuted at 24 under Ivan as well, the Tigers. Scotty Sorensen's 32 now. He'll be 32 in 5 days. He played 40 games in 5 years, over a 5-year period at the Sharks. He's now a New Zealand back rower. Yeah. Garner, who you had your concerns and rightfully so, playing in the centres, he's done a job for him since he's been there. Ivan also debuted him at the Tigers when he was coach of the Tigers in 18. And Dane Laurie. So Dane Laurie... Ivan debuted him in 2020 at the Panthers. He only plays 3 games because he's behind Dylan Edwards. Yeah. He goes to the Tigers, has 3 years there. It doesn't quite work out. He gets him back cheap. And then you've got to look at the number of halves that have gone through the system. Your Coggers, your Sean O'Sullivans, Schneider currently. They do such a good job of getting these players that are discount players that are on the scrap heap respectfully.
Because it's the culture. It's the culture. It's the system. So when you just come in there and you can play football a little bit and you do your job and you're fit and you're willing to do that as a role player and you want to be in there because you win. You do anything. That's 100. That's why they get the best out of those players. It's like Melbourne. It's exactly like Melbourne. Like it's just like plug in, plug out. You trust these guys. You put them in the team. They're going to do a job like Dane Laurie, like bang bang, because you want to be a part of the team. And when you get on and you get an opportunity, you want to play your best because you're going to go in a big run. You know what I mean? Like Dane Laurie be going, fuck, trust me, he could have 3 rings. But he can't because Dylan Edwards or 2, you know what I mean? Like a lot of these guys have just been sitting at like 18, 19, 20.
Garner's been there for 2 years and got 2 rings.
Yeah. But Garner's has always been a fucking gun.
I've always liked Garner.
But I was just thinking, where does he fit? Does he fit into Kickow's position? Because Sorensen was coming off the bench and then Sorensen goes, no, that's my position, right? Yeah. You're going to be on the bench and be that sort of filling man. And like I thought they were going to attack him, and they did, and they got that first try there.
They did a good job of recovering, didn't they?
But then they just make fucking changes and then they just fucking go to another level.
Here's one. I was watching the second half when they gave Scotty Sorensen a spell. Isaiah Papali'i coming onto the left edge.
Outstanding.
Isaiah Papali'i was left edge back row. Jack Cole was 6. Luke Garner was centres and Dane Laurie was wing. That's a Tigers edge.
Yep. Yeah,
that's a Tigers edge. And they let that first one in early and they recovered really well and played well. Like if you think about how successful Panthers have been for the last 5 years, Tigers have been just as unsuccessful. And Ivan's gone and got players from that system.
Yeah.
And they've done just a great job.
It's so brilliant how they can just make changes on the run. Don't be so tight. Don't be, he's going to come around the back and like Garner was so tight to his 3-man and all that kind of stuff and spread out a little bit so you can give yourself some more room. Just, and J. Cole was real tight to the 4-man, trust the 4-man, the Sorensen, get out a little bit wider, man-on-man sort of stuff. And it's like, because most of it was man-on-man, right? But because they were so tight to each other and then they'd come on this fan shape, you just get skinned.
Garner bit a little bit harder.
And they had fucking good shot. They had good shape too,
Great shape.
And then they just fucking made some fucking changes. And I'm like, they didn't look like scoring.
Garner fell into the trap that a lot of us back rows who end up finding ourselves in the centres. So when you play back row, you got to hold your inside shoulder as long as possible, and you almost don't want to give up your inside shoulder. Garner sort of defended like a back rower on that first play, but whatever the communication was that comes from the coaches, or even if it's just like a on-field adjustment by Garner, what a great job! But
Garner
fix that
is
really
like, so the 4-man, right, where was the edge defense we've played before. You're not moving out one spot. You're moving two.
Yeah.
So you cannot have your shoulders in at all. You've got to stay as square as you can, as long as you can. And then the ball moves, you move with the ball. Your little angle in here first made Ramian hit that line.
Yeah.
Just got your beauty.
But then you give Jesse Ramian that line, he's going to take it every day.
Oh, man, he's strong. Yeah. You need to be in front of him. Yeah. You cannot have him on your inside or outside shoulder. So they made adjustments on the run, which is fucking brilliant from the coaches. And it just would have been a little bit of a message. Have a look, just be a little bit wider. J. Cole, like the communication, like J. Cole was tucked into Sorensen so much. Trust Sorensen, mate. Good defender.
Yeah.
It'd be just like the other side with like Cleary and Liam Martin. They don't fuck around out there. You trust Liam Martin. Cleary just goes out, he does his own thing. They're gun defenders. But J. Cole.
What do you think of J. Cole?
He was all right.
Yeah, solid.
Without being like fucking...
Didn't
fantastic.
have to do too much.
Didn't have to do much.
Nathan was very, very dominant in this game, wasn't he?
That's what he needs to be. And if he does that, he's going to probably win the Dally M if he plays all games because he's a gun. He just ices
I think he only
everything.
has to play 15 games.
Yeah, he's going to ice games. Like the goal kicking was outstanding. Just the way he gets around the field. He's always involved in the try with either a nice pass, early ball, the kick. See that kick that he did?
What about the deception to go from the left side of the field to get Will Kennedy to sit on the wrong side and send the number and then come up?
And I thought he was outstanding too.
Yeah,
Will Kennedy.
So we'll get to that because I want to give Will Kennedy his credit.
Penrith, their middles unreal. I thought Lindsay Smith was outstanding.
Lindsay Smith also played the first 40 as well.
Yeah, but like just that rep cap that he got when you come back to camp, it's just like fuck. All right, I've arrived a little bit.
What was it like when you got your first rep cap and you're coming back into preseason round one?
Confidence levels are fucking through the roof. And I got my first cap during the year in an Anzac test.
Yeah.
Right? So you come back to club going, fuck. And back then, if you were making the Australian team, you're one of the best players in the world at that time, right? So you come back, you learn so much off the greats like the Andrew Johns and the Lockiers and all these sort of great players that were in the team. And you just it's just the confidence that you go, because he's played off the bench most of his career, right? Now he's a starter, and he fucking played like a starter.
I thought him and Leota, and Moses was unreal in the first 20. Life after fish.
Mad skill, Lindsay Smith, man.
Does silky.
Yeah.
Nice late footwork on that try that he should have scored, but Will Kennedy come up with a big
shape,
play.
See how they drop over it. I love it how where Cleary drops Tonga and then sprints back.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's in that double lead shape. And one in and out, and then it didn't work the first time, works the second time.
Do you know why they do that? They tried. Panthers are so locked into detail.
So deep.
They drop, and then they move out of the way. They want to take out any chance of obstruction at all. And then also because Nath sprints back, he's always in position straight away to get on the next play.
But what they do when they do drop it, right? So usually something that's real, you drop it here and the line's there. Like you're not moving the ruck at all. So if it's a deep drop, so just say you're way back there and I give it to Tungo here, he can move. He'll beat one man. He'll make these other guys move around, and then he'll fuck your line org up, your line organisation up. So he's going around, and then you got to count numbers because he's going to get to a certain position, right? But regardless of how he gets there, he's beating players. He's going to find his front. They're already in shape, and it's on purpose. You're not just dropping him just for the sake of it. It's 100%. It's a deep drop, so whatever gap he can see, he's going to be over the other side of the ruck and whatever. He's straight, might go that way, he might go that way. And then, like, they're already in shape. Cleary's not just fucking backing off. Mm-hmm. He's sprinting back for that double shape and everything like that. It's like, good luck stopping that shit.
It's a good point with the drop. They've got a point on the field that they want to get to for sure, but it also allows him to kick if there is someone who gets lazy. And that's why Nath quickly rushes out of the way. We probably want to get to...
And to stop that, right, and everyone's going to have, film on it, you've got to fucking... If you're coming from the inside... You got to shoot at Tonga. You got to come from the inside, have a good angle on him, and shut him down. You can shut him down.
They have Dylan Edwards going through the middle, though.
But, so but you fucking work your ass off from both sides of the ruck, and just fucking really, if you want to stop those plays when they're in the red zone, this is a fucking whole line effort. You've got to be coming up both sides.
You can't do it by yourself.
No. You need to be like, it's like two or three of you in the middle. You need to stop that. And someone needs to have Edwards. A four-man needs to have Edwards on that other side. So you can stop it, but good luck.
Eisenhuth played 25 off the bench, and Luron Patea only played 15. I think they need that Liam Henry back.
Yeah, where is Henry? Injured?
Shoulder injury. He missed the first game.
But they can make do, jeez.
Yeah, they'll be all right for the first little bit. Panthers too good. Sharks. I was watching Will Kennedy really closely in this because of I guess the last couple of weeks we've been getting a lot of comments about Will Kennedy. He missed a couple of chances where they stripped the numbers well, and he maybe passed the ball a little bit too early, or he sort of didn't come up with the right play that could have led to tries potentially. But I just don't really get the negative chat around him for Sharks fans. He has the try saver that I thought, by the way, if he clearly attacks the ball over the line, which he's entitled to do, should that have been a try to Nathan Cleary?
That's what we were calling out in the pub yesterday.
Yeah.
We were like, a lot of people at the pub were saying that.
I thought it was, yeah.
I thought that's the rule. Like, you can go you can go 2-on-2 or knock the ball out in a try scoring position. But I thought
it was going to be a try.
Was going to be a try to... Anyway, by the way, great effort, Will Kennedy. Yeah. He saved the 40-20, which should have been a 40-20 because
his foot was out.
Line. But it's just the effort. And then his tackle on Liam Martin in space, raging Liam Martin.
I know he's been doing some sprint training in the off-season, Liam Martin.
Fast.
He looks powerful.
Yeah.
Like when he gets out, when he come off that cross and he was like, he burnt the inside blokes. And then he did not care who was in front of him.
He did not try to step one bit.
He's like, deal with this power. Deal with it. And he dealt with it.
Yeah.
Got him. He's not a big man, Kennedy.
No.
Put his body in front. And I love that sort of shit, man. I was fucking going, wow, you're going to be so sore tomorrow.
That will hurt.
He kept him in the game.
Yeah, he did. Played well.
Good,
he always turns up. He's always in the right spots. He's, got really fit. I like Will Kennedy, and some of the Sharks fans that have been messaging us, and he is off contract at the end of the year, so it is a big season coming up for Will Kennedy. Yeah. But I think you got yourself a good team, and don't be too disheartened by that loss.
No. Penrith were on. Penrith were really on. I thought Brayley was pretty good out of 9. I thought Nico Hines was good. Trindle was good. They just fucked up a couple of times on the wing. Mulatalo had that little bit of a brain fart when he was trying to do that. Hey, I thought the whole momentum changed when Hazelton went for that charge down, and they got 6 to go, and then they ended up scoring off that, and then the game got out of hand.
That kills you as a middle when that happens.
The middle's just fucking just let him kick it.
You know who looks really good body shape? Hamlin Uele.
Yeah, look good.
He looks like he's dropped about 5 kilos.
Yeah.
Do you reckon the haircut makes a difference?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. But he has lost weight. I thought Teague Hilton was good.
Yeah.
Wilton. Fucking hell. Always Wilton. Nikora was good.
Yep.
I think it's a problem at lock. McInnes is good, but it's not offering that much.
Yeah, well, we've talked about potentially.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I think Teague can play there.
You know what?
I don't know. I love McInnes because he's just a dog. He just goes at it. And you need one of those guys, but it's like you need a lock to ball play, right? A little bit of ball playing. You know, when he's one off the ruck, he runs hard and everything like that, but he's fucking so undersized. You know, and he doesn't have the footwork like Cam Murray.
He's tough as hell.
He's not like Victor Radley, you know. Like, and who else do you put at lock? You know, you can have, I think they tried Kafusi in at lock and they had Hazelton and
up front.
Fanil Blake at the front.
I reckon
row.
their forward pack and back five are going to blow teams off the park this year.
They were just off.
They just happened to come up against the 4-time champions who were desperate.
Who were like bright lights, big fucking event.
Yeah.
You're not winning.
Yeah.
If that was anywhere in Australia, I reckon the Cronulla would have won. But Mulatalo, back to him with that, he needs to get that out of his game.
Yeah.
That little things. It's just like, so that was off the charge down.
He
and
thought,
then they
in
score,
fairness,
so they
he
score
thought
edge.
Liam Martin hit Will Kennedy high.
I know, but still, you can't do shit about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you just got to go.
But then he doubles down and comes up with an awful read straight
and then
after.
the awful read, and Alamotti scores in the corner. It's just like, mate, like, that's what I just didn't like that. And that's just really disheartening for middles and everyone who's been working their asses off for the double whammy. Like, least you could do is like just ragdoll Alamotti out, and it's just a bad read coming in on that. It was man on man.
Yeah, he didn't have to come.
He was
so fired up.
He was so, and that's what happens when you fucking can't relax and you're just so pumped up and you want. It's not a lack of trying.
Nah,
you know, like he just had to sit back, trust his centers, and he would have fucking thrown Alamotti in the fifth row.
Yeah, so at that point as well,
it was a tight game.
Yeah, it was tight. They were actually it was 1, 2, 3.
Cronulla
tries.
was fucking finding momentum until that charge down, and then that happened, and then bang, bang, bang.
I found myself I thought Nico started really well, had some nice touches, obviously comes up, was running the ball. Thought he got a bit gun shy in the second half. And they were on the back foot and they didn't get as much possession because Penrith did a good job for probably the first 25 minutes after the break. But as the game went on, or when it started to get in the clutch, I found myself wanting Trindle to have the ball more. Yeah. I felt like he was the one that was more likely. And I don't know if that's a good thing, whether that's a bad thing. The only thing with Trindle is he's got the potential to be the dude. Like, you know, whether the paychecks matter, doesn't matter. He just comes back just a little bit overweight.
Always.
You know, like if he can.
That's the fittest he's going to look.
So I'm thinking about it. I remember there was a season where I come back, and I always was a guy who had a little bit of puppy fat, even as a back rower. And then I come back and I dropped 5 kilos in 2011, and I felt like I was too light. Yeah. So because he's a small statured player,
he's still a little nugget, but
he
can get away with that. He's probably carrying 3 kilos.
Yeah, a couple of kilos.
I'm not sure if it'll change his game.
He was still good.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That might be just his genetics.
Yeah,
you know, like he probably trains harder than anyone. I'm not sure. Alex Fitzy or someone like that. If his diet's all over the shop, there's just little things that being a professional athlete, you know, you don't really want to, you know, you could expect that from your middles, right? Not your 5'8". Your 5'8" should be ripped.
But he was the one that looked more.
He's
more
a fucking gun.
Yeah,
he's a gun. Like I'm looking at him to save that team as well. You know, Nico was good, but he was more like just running the ball. He tried to get into the game by running the ball, which is good.
Great sign.
Which I like that. You know, so if that's his first game he's played and he's just running the ball, he's just trying to test himself, he's trying to test his power and his legs and everything like that, decent. It was a good hit out from Cronulla.
Yeah.
They fucking ran into a red hot Penrith side.
Yeah.
They were on. I thought Penrith was going to be off, as I said before, but they weren't.
Couple of top 4 teams.
That's 2 top 4 teams.
Yeah.
That is 2 top 4 teams. That's why it's such a high quality game.
Trindle, just going back to Trindle quickly before we wrap it up. He's, I think outside of Cody Walker, like to play so late into his decision making, right at the line. Fuck, he's so good. Whether he's putting in a kick, playing short, playing long.
He's got a lot.
He's nice.
Yeah, they look good, like on that right edge. They look good. I thought they were going to skin Penrith like a couple of times, but they made adjustments and they just didn't execute. They still had chances. They just didn't execute. That's all it was, and that's. I think you can take a lot of positives out of that game for Cronulla. You know, they defend so good, Penrith. The best defensive system in the game.
They were desperate, mate.
And I just think, you know, if they executed a little bit better, they would have scored like 3. I reckon they left about 3 tries on the field.
All right, well, that is it for this week. Coming up on Thursday, we've got 6 more games coming up on the weekend, so we'll preview all the rest of the games for the continued round 1.
Let's go.